Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. President Trump has taken America to war, and it's a very good war, and it's the right war. In fact, he's taken us into two wars. The United States right now is involved in two wars under our favorite and greatest president, Donald Trump. And these are very just wars. Of course, what they are, I'll just tell you out the box. The war on drugs. We are at war against the cartels, which is an international terrorist organization. So it doesn't matter what country they're in, but it primarily is affecting Colombia and Venezuela right now. That's the first war. And the president of Colombia has committed an act of war against the United States. We're going to get into that. That's the first war. And the second war that President Trump has gotten us involved in, which is a very just war, is the war on crime in American cities. He's sending the feds with backup with National Guard forces to Portland. He got the okay from the judge. San Francisco, Memphis, Chicago's coming up. Of course, he already did great work in Washington, D.C. And these are the two wars we're in, the war on drugs and the war on crime. And our entire lives, we've heard these catchphrases, the war on drugs and the war on crime. What did those things really mean in the past? They meant nothing. They meant absolutely nothing, because we were never at war against the cartels. Not really. There might have been an action here or there over the years, but it wasn't. There was no war on drugs. And the war on crime, there's been no war on crime. It's been catchphrases that used to be used by politicians in the 80s and 90s to get support, and that's faded away, and crime has increased in American cities. So President Trump is doing this. And both of these wars are just wars, but the war on drugs that President Trump has taken to a literal level now. I saw what got me thinking about this so much is they released the video of the U.S. strike on the drug cartel submarine. Have you seen it? I retweeted it early this morning. And I was surprised. This was like a real submarine. It looked kind of like a old World War II or maybe even 80s era submarine. I was expecting, when they said we took out a drug cartel submarine, I was expecting to see like one of those homemade submarines that they make with parts from Amazon, like that one that exploded that went down to the Titanic. This was a real submarine. I mean, it wasn't some thing. I was shocked, and they took it right out of the water, the drug cartel submarine. And I was talking, I did a live stream on YouTube a little while ago, and I was talking about this, and I was thinking really hard. I believe that the war on crime is a domestic thing we're dealing with, so I'm not talking about that with this, but the war on drugs that President Trump has taken to a real level right now, and if I'm leaving one out, feel free to let me know, okay? But I believe that this is only the third war the United States has been in that was a truly just war fighting for the security of the United States and of the American people. All right? And I'll just go through it real quick. And if I'm leaving one out, let me know. Now, I'm not saying that other wars that I leave off this list were unjust. What I'm talking about is this is only the third war that I can think of off the top of my head, this war on the cartels that President Trump is waging right now. This is only the third war in American history. I take that back. Fourth war. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth war. This is only the fourth war in American history that the United States has been taken into by a president that was for the betterment of the United States of America and the American people. And I'll tell you what they are, and if I'm leaving one off, let me know. One was, of course, the American Revolution. That was a very just war for the American people. It brought democracy. It brought freedom to the world. The United States is the oldest democracy, oldest republic in the world. So there's that. So the American Revolution is one. The second one, these are the just wars. The War of 1812, when the British tried to take us back. That was a just war. The Civil War, the war which was really the Democrat insurrection against the federal government, the war to free the slaves from the Democrat slaveholders, that was obviously a very just war for the betterment of the United States and to benefit the American people. And since then, we've been in a whole bunch of wars. Spanish-American War, that was just, Cuban independence. A bunch of waste of time that was. Against Spain, come on. World War I was for Europe. World War II was for Europe. And all these small wars, Korea, Vietnam, even in Afghanistan. I mean, I know we were attacked, but we weren't fighting in Afghanistan for us, and then we gave it back. This is only the fourth war that is 100% to protect this country and to benefit the American people, the war on drugs. And I'm seeing so much outrage on this war on drugs, President Trump blowing up the drug boats. Can you imagine in that submarine? Can you imagine how difficult it is for these drug cartels to find people that'll take those drug boats and try to come here to the United States? They're kamikaze drug boat people, right? They're kamikaze boat drivers. That's exactly what they are. And who knows what they're doing to get people to take those drug boats? But I promise you, it's either a lot of money or coercion, doing God knows what. They just can't get people to do it normally like they have been for decades with the drug boats because you could get blown up. So, I look at those who are opposed to this. Now, the people that are opposed to the war on drugs would fit into a couple of categories, and there's some crossover. Of course, the Trump derangement people, right? The Trump derangement people, whatever Trump says, they're going to say the opposite. If he says it's sunny out, it's cloudy, right? If he says it's raining, it's dry, it's sunny skies. No, so you've got the stereotypical, the Trump derangement syndrome sufferers who just go against everything he does. He cures cancer. Oh my goodness, doctors out of work. Right? But the other group of people that I believe are opposed to this are people that are junkies. They may be functioning addicts, but they're addicts. So the legalization of marijuana, a lot of people smoke marijuana or use marijuana in some other form. I don't, but you may. And chances are the marijuana you use is homegrown USA marijuana on one of these legal pot farms in whatever way you choose to consume it. So the trafficking is not so much with, I'm sure there might be some still, but the trafficking of marijuana outside the country has got to be very small compared to what it used to be. So what the drug cartels are bringing in would be mostly cocaine and fentanyl. And I did some research briefly early this morning, and then I was also searching around when I was waiting for my coffee at Starbucks this morning, and I couldn't find any data on this. But, when President Trump shut down the southern border, illegal drug importation in this country dropped dramatically. And now he's taking out their boats and submarines, so it's getting a lot more difficult. And they can't fly it in either. They'll shoot them down. The price of fentanyl and cocaine has had to go up through the roof. There's had to be massive inflation on these. Hold on, I got to click a thing over here. Okay, got it. All right. There's had to be massive inflation on fentanyl and cocaine. There just has to be. I can't find any data on it. There's no data on what cocaine and fentanyl prices are today anywhere online that I can find. So who are the addicts in particular on cocaine? Cocaine trafficking, cocaine prices, I don't care. I would say, President Trump in the last 9 months, I think it's fair to say that cocaine prices have increased somewhere between 400% and 1,000%. Does that seem probable to you? You can't have a bunch of cocaine fields in the United States. And President Trump, he said they've got in Colombia, they have cocaine factories. So cocaine prices have had to go up through the roof. There's just no way around it. It's had to go through the roof. Had to. And fentanyl, I don't know, I'm not a druggie. I don't take drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't even have any prescription medications. Okay, I take an over-the-counter allergy medication. That's it. That's all I take. I don't take blood pressure. I take nothing. But when supply and demand, and with the importation being hit, with the closure of the southern border and blowing the drug boats and submarines out of the water, it makes sense that cocaine prices have gone up. Fentanyl prices have probably gone up dramatically too. Now, fentanyl is a pretty cheap drug, from what I hear. But it's had to have gone up because the supply is going down. They're not able to import it in the quantities that they were prior to Trump's second term. So when you think about it, cocaine is a rich person's drug. When you look at people that are in the positions of authority and power, and in the media, how many of them do you think are on cocaine, use cocaine? I would bet you a lot. Especially in the media, where they have to have lots of energy and be thin and look good all the time. I would imagine cocaine usage is very high in certain professions, including the media and high-ranking government officials. So that's why they would be opposed to it. But also drug addiction is a big business. The pharmaceuticals have all kinds of treatments for it. And the drug rehabilitation industry is a huge business in the United States. So huge. And a lot of it is subsidized by the government through Medicaid and things like this. So you've got a lot of people in positions of power that use these drugs, these illegal drugs. And it's also big pharma and other big money people make a lot of money off of the drug addictions, as do local governments. Local governments and city, they make a lot of money. How much money do they get for their police departments and jails and everything else, and their courts and everything, because of drug-related crimes, right? A lot. So there's a lot of big money interest against stopping the flow of drugs in the country. And I haven't seen a single, and I did research beyond news stories. There's just not data available on the street price of fentanyl and cocaine today compared to a year ago. I couldn't find anything that was, the only thing is an addict could tell us, but how many people are going to own up to that knowledge? And of those who own up to it, how many of them are going to tell the truth, right? Oh, no, man, it's all cheap. I'm getting all cheap. It's cheaper than ever. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Trump's a failure. It's everywhere. So there's no way as of now to get that information. But I'd like to see it. It's had to have gone up through the roof. And Latin America is so dependent on the drug trade. Some of these major countries down there, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and others, are run by the drug cartels. Their presidents of some of these countries are figureheads. They're just doing the bidding of the drug cartels, either because they're afraid, which I can understand that, or they're just a part of the cartels and, they've been making money off of it their whole life, and that's how they got where they are. In these Latin American countries, the drug cartels are just a lobby group like Big Pharma here in this country. Everybody, AIPAC's the big problem. AIPAC! The drug cartel's the biggest lobbyist group out there hurting Americans because they control these politicians in South America. So President Trump, this war on drugs is just on my basic recollection of all the wars we've been in, this is only the fourth war the United States has been in that is 100% for the interest of the American people and this country. And it's the first war since the Civil War that's been a totally just war for the American people directly. Now, again, I'm not saying that World War II was not a just war, but we weren't fighting directly for the American people, okay? So that's how I'm defining that. Does that make sense to you? I mean, I think it does. Unless you're, a Trump-hating, Trump derangement syndrome sufferer or a junkie who's freaking out because your drug prices are going up and you've had to cut. What's happening to drug addicts is what happens to a lot of poor people with their prescription. You know how sometimes people that they don't have a lot of money or their insurance isn't paying for their prescriptions like it should, they'll cut their pills in half or take half doses. That's probably what's going on with a lot of junkies in this country. A lot of drug addicts are probably taking partial doses and everything else because they can't afford and it makes sense, and this is one area of inflation that the media don't want to cover, because if the media, and believe me, the media is filled with people on cocaine, I promise you, and they know darn well how inflation has hit cocaine. So if they did they don't want to do, and they hate Trump. So if they did a story on the, and there's no data online, I couldn't find it. I looked a couple times today. And I did look a while back too when I was talking. I couldn't find anything. If they did a story, the fake news media, if they did a story on the high price of cocaine because of Trump's war on the cartels and shutting down the southern border, there's two problems with that. First one is they don't want to report anything that makes Trump look good. Illegal drug inflation, that's the kind of inflation you want. And the other thing is they'll say, well, how do you know how much cocaine has gone up in the last year? How do you know? There's no data out there. How do you know? They can't say that their sources, they bought it. So here we are, and that's that, and it's good. So here's President Trump on Air Force One over the weekend talking about Colombia, the Colombian president in the cartels. Oh, and if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you want to see and hear the audio and video that I share, you got to go to my main live stream on YouTube, and the direct link to that's in the description of the video.
They don't have a fight against drugs. They make drugs. They refine drugs. They make cocaine. They have cocaine factories. They have no fight against drugs. And I'm stopping all payments to Colombia because they don't have anything to do with their fight against drugs. And in fact, even when they had better presidents than they have right now, that's how they're making a lot of money, drugs. I used to complain about it when they had a very nice president, but he wasn't doing it. It was all talk. They are a drug manufacturing machine.
That's right.
And we're not going to be part of it. So we're going to drop all money that we're giving to them. It has nothing to do with them stopping drug production. And you look at the fields are loaded up with drugs, and they refine the drugs, and they make tremendous amounts of cocaine, and they send it all over the world, and they destroy families. No, Colombia is out of control, and now they have the worst president they've ever had. He's a lunatic who's got a lot of problems, mental problems.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's our great president. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, David from Chicago.
Hey, David.
I just wanted to point out that you said that Trump can do no wrong. Then I put a link in the text message. Then I guess you wouldn't mind if, in that clip where he said grab the woman by the
He didn't say that.
So-and-so.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
He did say he tried to F a married woman.
No.
And I think I
let me tell you what really happened, okay? What you're and it's possible. I'm not accusing you of being dishonest. The media for 10 years have been reporting this story wrong. So I'm going to tell you what happened. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. President Trump he was famous for years and years and years, and then he started the Celebrity Apprentice with Barnett that did Survivor, right? And the Celebrity, it was first The Apprentice and then later the Celebrity. When The Apprentice went on the air, it quickly became the #1 show on NBC's whole network, #1.
Yeah.
And he went to Hollywood. He was in Los Angeles promoting the new season of The Apprentice. It had become a big hit. And he was on that bus with Billy Bush. And he was talking to Billy Bush about, if you watch the whole clip, this is what happened. And notice how this guy with this accent is talking about anything other than what I'm talking about, but that's okay for now. He was talking to Billy Bush on the bus about how this was his first time in Hollywood as a TV star, right? He had been famous because he was a big real estate guy in New York, but now he has the #1 show on television. And he was talking about how all the actresses in Hollywood, when you have the #1 show on television, how they treat you differently. They want to be your friend. They want to be close to you. They want to be your girlfriend. They would even let you grab them by the blank if you have the #1 show on TV. That's what he said. He didn't say do it. He didn't do it. or anything else, and it's totally out of context. But because and that's the truth.
Yeah, but in the same clip, if you look at it, because I put it in the text message over there, he does say that he tried to F a married woman.
Well, okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, you say he does no wrong, but...
Well,
I mean,
first
I
of
would
all,
consider that something
no.
wrong.
I'm not saying that he is without sin. There's only one man who lived without sin. You know who that was, right?
Okay. No,
Jesus.
If that's
we're
what you're
all
saying,
we're
then I
all
agree with you.
sinners.
You're right.
We're all sinners. I didn't say.
Amen.
I never said that he's a saint. What I said was, and we're talking about him as president. I've said I would never disagree with
You're
Trump
talking
or
about policy,
criticize
you're
Trump. Yeah, we're all sinners. I go to mass. We pray.
Yeah,
we're all
I
sinners.
agree. Okay,
we're
so
all
when
sinners.
you say that he does no wrong, you mean policy specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
No,
everyone's.
I mean,
are you Christian? I'm Catholic.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as Christians, we acknowledge that everyone is a sinner. We're all sinners. Even the priests go to confession.
100%.
Priests go to confession.
Yeah. Well, you know how Peter was corrected by Paul as well when he was saying that he was separating himself from the Gentiles. And,
Yeah.
Paul called him out on that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I never said that he was a
always
saint who never sinned. That's crazy talk.
Okay.
Everyone's a sinner.
That's just the impression I got.
But when it comes to
Okay, well, then
politics,
I'm
he's done.
mistaken.
Think about what and I corrected you on what I just shared with you on the Access Hollywood tape. And it's also, one thing that's left out is how did they get that tape? And I'll tell you how I think they got it. There's two possibilities. How do you think they got that tape? That tape was not on the air. It was a behind the scenes video. How do you think that happened?
Well, I'm guessing that you probably need two-party consent, and I don't think that was given.
No, wasn't that? He was talking to Billy Bush. Do you know who Billy Bush's uncles are? And grandfather?
Was it Bush Jr.
One
right?
of his uncles.
they're
one of his
related to
uncles was President George W. Bush. His grandfather was H.W. Bush, and his other uncle was Jeb Bush. And I believe they got that. They found out about that tape by two things: either Billy Bush was sucking up to his uncles, or it was that wiretap that Obama illegally put on Trump Tower, which was where the campaign headquarters were in the first campaign. And they were talking about things that might come up that they would have to explain, and that might have come up. That was that tape, taken out of context, was the only time in Trump's entire first campaign that there was any speed bumps. And Mike Pence was his running mate, condemned him.
Someone in public.
He didn't mean that. That's
I
called
thought that
humor. That's called sarcasm. He didn't mean he would actually do it or could. That's sarcasm.
No, I'm not saying he would actually do it. I just think that it was, inappropriate. But I mean, that's the main thing
Give
I
me a
wanted.
break.
I always thought that you were saying that he's like without
a
fault.
saint? No, I never said he was.
All
All right, I appreciate the call. No, I never said he was without sin. We are all sinners. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Oh my goodness, these liberals are demented.
I'm going to clear it up for a lot of these people that don't understand President Trump. Okay, first of all, by the way, a lot of organizations and politicians are paid off by drug money.
That's right. That's right.
They look the other way. So for years we've heard we've lost the war on drugs. Now I'm going to tell you, President Trump. I mean, with all these people calling up, well, he did this with Bush and with on the bus and all this, and he said terrible things, and he's in the drug. This is all deflection. You see, and I'm going to say the way it is. I'm a New Yorker.
Yep.
I'm a New Yorker, and I'm a little tough around the edges. I could speak to an attorney, or I could speak to a homeless person on the street. I'm very, and that's President Trump. He can relate to people. Okay, Godfather 1. When they were all in there with Marlon Brando kissing the ring, don't you notice that there's a sort of like the Godfather is now running the country, and that's what we need.
Yeah,
we need a tough guy like this.
Yeah,
literally, he is. Yeah, I mean, not for nothing. People don't like how
and
he acts,
and this thing about the notice I laid out this whole thing about the war on crime and drugs. I get a guy with a Hispanic accent who's trying to divert. I led him because I wanted to get I haven't talked about that in a while, and I think people should know the context of that and how what was said. But this is Donald Trump. This war on drugs. There's no one that can convince me, Richie, that cocaine prices have not gone up through the roof. And
100%.
And it's had to go up 500%, 1,000%. I don't know. I don't do drugs. And fentanyl's super cheap, but I bet it's
100% to you. 100.
There's no way fentanyl
you're
is
right
as
on a dime with this.
Oh yeah, and there's no way that fentanyl, as cheap as it is as cheap as it was a year ago. It's had to have gone up in price because the supplies have dwindled.
Exactly, and you know what they're out there saying? Oh, he's against he's breaking the Constitution. He's blowing up boats in the water. And let me tell you something. If anyone ever came to Miami in the early '60s, you would look at the skyline of Miami and you'd say, "Boy, this is a little two-horse town." Look at it today. You know that skyline was built by drug money.
Absolutely.
So the whole thing. The banks were corrupted. Everything was corrupted back here.
Yeah, go on. Don't do this now because I don't want you guys to stop watching me. But when I'm off the air, go and watch Cocaine Cowboys. Not Cocaine Cowboys 2. Watch the original one, the first one.
Yeah,
with the Miami-Dade Mall.
Documentary.
Yeah, with the Dade Mall shooting and all that. Oh my goodness. I remember when that was like in the local news. Yeah.
Yeah, President Trump is basically, when they say, well, it's against the law to blow up these ships, these boats in the water. I looked at one of them before it was blown up. It had like 6 high-speed engines. I remember the cigarette boats.
Yeah, hold on, Richie. I got to answer these calls here. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, did I lose you? Okay, hold on. Okay, all right. Okay, Richie, you there? Sorry about that.
Yeah, the cigarette boats could go. They shoot over to Miami. They drop the boat. And now they're going into these other countries like Jamaica, and they drop it off.
See, Richie and I are South Florida, but Richie and I both grew up in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. So we remember the days when Miami Vice was like everyday life, when it was on TV. That show was on television, but it was almost like a documentary to us when it was right. That's how it was.
Right. Do you know what? Listen, I'm going to tell you, and I want everyone out here to just understand how sophisticated these drug people are. Okay, they literally had they were putting in something out in the ocean off of Dania Beach. They were putting pipes.
Yeah.
That was supposedly and let me tell you something. They were full of cocaine.
Yes.
They do. It comes in like crazy. So
and the media. I don't know. There's no way to know. But a huge chunk of people on television, especially the women, are on cocaine because they need to have high energy and be thin. So they don't want to report the good work that he's doing on this war on drugs because their cocaine prices are going through the roof.
I walked into, I don't know if you remember, there was a nightclub up in Pompano.
Hold on. I'm answering.
I walked into this Pickles. I walked into the men's room and was offered cocaine by a guy in a nice sports jacket, and he was sniffing at the mirror.
Yeah, I used to see. I went into a men's room at a pretty kind of exclusive place, where famous people go, and 2 of the most famous people in the world were doing cocaine, and offered me. They said, "Do you want to bump?" And I looked at this was like a super famous person. I'm like, "No, not for me. I just have to pee."
Yeah, but people don't realize this. So when you hear President Trump say the Venezuelan president doesn't want to F around, and they never heard language like this, you are looking at the godfather of the United States.
That's right.
Italian neighborhoods, I don't want to say this, but
okay, hold on. Yeah, Rich.
The safest neighborhoods in New York City were mafia-run neighborhoods.
Yes.
Nobody messed with them. They didn't. They only messed around with their own, the people that were corrupted.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. The neighborhoods were safer. He's trying to make America safe. You're looking at.
Who would be against the war on drugs? And if you look at that submarine that they took out, that was a real submarine. I was shocked when I saw it. And and against the war on crime. That's crazy. All right, Richie,
Money.
I'll talk to you. Remember, Richie's the only person that gets the 2-call pass when I do the early show.
Thank you, Brian.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
Nobody else gets that. Just Richie. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell you guys that all of this extra programming I'm doing here is, of course, sponsored by the great Mike Lindell at MyPillow. So go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane. Last month was the first month of his sponsorship. This is month 2. So a week from Friday is Halloween. I'll have a meeting with him either Friday or the Monday after, and they'll tell me whether or not they're going to continue the sponsorship. So go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout so that Mike Lindell will continue, because all this extra, you guys have noticed I've been streaming like a lot the last couple months. It's because of Mike Lindell's sponsorship. So please go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we're back. And again, please go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg. What's up?
Hey, listen, I listen to your commentary and just shake my head sometimes. Listen, we're all against the war. And you know what? The war on drugs is an overused statement. But the commentary that you propose, like, once again, your sexism, I don't even know how you actually stayed married this long.
What's sexism?
Females on the air are not reporting it because they're using cocaine to stay thin.
Well, here's what I said. Here's what I said. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, Greg too, and Rich, you also get the 2-call pass that Richie has, because you're a good caller, and you know. And what that means is if you call me on the on the off the radio show, you get to call in a second time. Only you and Richie have the golden ticket to that if you want to call back another time. But anyway, the what I said was this. There's no way that cocaine prices have not gone through the roof with the closure of the border and blowing up these boats. And I did a little bit of research, which is just a little Googling and stuff, but I couldn't find any data on current prices of cocaine and fentanyl. There's no data out there available, but users know. People that are using these drugs know. Cocaine, in particular, the powder cocaine, is a rich person's drug, and media people, television and movie people, a lot of them are coked up. They need to have the energy, and they got to be thin. And the mainstream fake news media is full of people that are on cocaine. Come on, they're in New York.
No, but you pointed out females.
Yeah, well, there's a pressure for them to be thin more than men, and the cocaine helps with that.
You know what? How do you actually go on the air and say blatant comments?
Well, I work in media, and I know people currently, and have known my entire professional life, people that work in television and things, and there's a lot of cocaine
amongst females or males.
I'm not going to give specifics, but it's more towards the females.
No, you're the one.
It's more towards the females. It's more towards the females. Yeah, I mean, come on. You know what?
So you know females in the media personally that do cocaine?
No, I'm not saying any more than that. But come on, people in media, whether it's movies, television, people that make good livings use cocaine. That's the consumer of it. So they got to be upset about the cocaine prices going up. Who's using the powder? Who uses powder cocaine? Rich people, right?
I don't know.
Come on.
Do you?
Yes, rich people. A lot of people that are in television and movies. Come on, Greg.
How much is cocaine? How much is the cost of cocaine?
I don't know. I don't do drugs.
Right. So you don't know what.
No, but
what it
everybody
costs
knows.
for rich
Everybody
people.
knows that powder cocaine is more expensive. That's the crack was the cheap stuff, but the expensive. Come on, Greg. Maybe I should. Now I'm not going to give. Maybe I shouldn't give you the golden ticket because you don't have much to say. All right, take care. No, I think I'll withdraw that. Only Richie has the golden ticket. Now I'm taking it back from Greg. I mean that was even beneath his quality.
Brian.
Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Brian, my name is Matthew.
Yeah,
I have a
Matthew.
question for you.
Yes. Ask your
So-
question.
I know that Trump just did a deal with the Middle East.
Okay.
Do you believe that deal is going to stand the
Sure, for a while, yeah.
test of time?
Will there never be war in the Middle East again? No, I wouldn't go that far. You got a lot of nuts over there.
No, I'm not saying that it would not ever happen again.
Well,
But
I'm just
what
on.
I am asking
Yeah, this
is,
deal's a good deal, and it
how
looks like it's
long
yeah.
do you-
How long? I don't know. There's no way to say. I mean, there's still a mop-up operation going on, right?
Right.
Okay. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I don't know. I'm not a psychic. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, you had to explain to that one guy about what this whole thing about the boats and the sinking of the boats and stuff. Basically, it's simple economics, right? The supply goes down, the price has to go up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
You know,
It's capitalist system. He shut down the border. Most of the illegal drugs were not just coming through the southern border. They were being brought here by the illegal migrants. They were carrying them on their persons.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean,
And that was shut
think about
down.
this.
That's been totally shut off.
And think about this. What he's doing here with this thing with Venezuela and stuff, it's all about the Monroe Doctrine, protecting the hemisphere, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know? Now, and also the thing with the drugs is there's always been rumors about how the CIA would they get their money, and one of the things is they were in the drug trade, right? The CIA.
Correct.
So if he's shutting down the drug trade, then the CIA is not as well off as it should be.
I guess if they're still making their money that way. I don't know if they still make their money that way. But, when Trump shut down the border, the illegal drugs coming across the border dramatically stopped. Okay? That was their main source of importing illegal drugs. The boats were secondary, and they're getting blown out of the water by the United States Navy. 10% of the United States naval power is in the Caribbean, and those patrolling those waters, taking out the drug boats. So it makes sense that the price of cocaine went up. I mean, are these people suffering with Trump derangement syndrome so much they can't even agree with simple supply and demand economic theory? I mean, come on. The prices are determined on the supply and the demand, and junkies are still junkies, and the cocaine is in shorter supply.
They have to have it, and that's the thing. These people, obviously, we've so dumbed down the educational system. In high school, I had an economics course in high school.
Yeah.
I would assume that you probably did too at some point.
Yeah, that's been replaced with critical race theory and LGBTQ plus trans history.
And look, here's the deal with the drugs. Again, I remember there was a movie that came out a few years back about Barry Seal. Mm-hmm. The guy who was using airplanes to fly drugs in the country.
Yeah. Was that the one with Tom Cruise? Was he? Or was that the one with?
Think so.
Yeah. That was a good movie. All right, I appreciate the call, Mike. Man, make some good points. Mike from Louisiana. If you're new to the program, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you want to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. It's 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are watching. And all the calls are screenless and unvetted. When you call in, nobody answers the phone. I just put you on hold. And you'll be on hold. And then when you hear me say, what's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. That's our screening. And that's the format of the show, by the way. We have people that can answer the phones and everything, and I don't avail myself of that because I think it makes the show more interesting not having somebody answer the phones for a number of reasons, which I've explained many times. I'm not going to go into now. And in just a few minutes, we'll be live on the radio. This is the pre-show. So when the radio show starts, which now we're getting on the buffer, so no profanity. You can't use profanity on the radio, guys. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Detroit.
Detroit, speak up.
Detroit, speak up.
Can you turn down the volume of your computer in the background? There's a delay. So you got to listen on the phone, not the computer. Turn it down. This is going to be a good one.
You cannot believe all the bullshit that you say.
What did I what did I say that's BS?
You just said they replaced economics in schools with we say DI.
Critical race theory and LGBTQ plus trans history.
Define for me critical race theory.
Critical race theory is the racist sociological venom that is preached by terrible people like Kalinde X, the author of How to Be an Anti-Racist, and Joy Reid and others. It teaches a false history of the United States based around the 1619 Project.
Now give me the real definition.
I just did. I just did. That's it. I just did. That's not propaganda. I just gave it to you.
1619 Project.
The United States became a country when? When was the United States founded, Detroit?
1776, whatever. 1776.
Are you sure about that?
Sure.
Okay, 1776. That's right. July 4th, 1776. The 1619 Project is this BS crap that they put together. They want their reparations. The United States fought a very bloody civil war to end slavery, okay? So what the 1619 Project did, now I'm explaining this to you, what the 1619 Project and critical race theory was all about was saying, no, the United States wasn't founded on July 4th, 1776. It was founded in 1619 when the first slave came to the New World against their will. So that's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Always dancing on the shit. Answer the question. I asked for the definition.
And I did. I gave you the definition, but you just don't want to accept it.
With rhetoric, you hit me with your propaganda.
No, I gave you the definition of. Tell me then what it is, because that's my definition of it.
White people that shit, but you ain't gonna lie to me. Pull up the definition of critical race theory.
I just gave it to you.
Yeah, but Google it. Let me.
No, I don't. No, I'm a very well-educated, knowledgeable person. I don't go to Google and read liberal crap.
That's the problem with you Trump motherfuckers. You uneducated, weird motherfuckers. Y'all just fucking hate.
Okay. All right. But while you're calling me a mother effer and things, but you're what is that, love? Is that a term of endearment? Mother effer? Is that a term? That sounds like venom and hate to me. All right, listen, I got to run. Oh, my goodness. We'll be live on the radio in just a minute. Oh. Oh, my goodness. Boy, oh, boy, my goodness. Okay, stand by. We'll be on the radio. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We've got less than a minute till the radio show starts, so I got to do a reintroduction of the show and everything. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number is toll-free. No profanity from this point forward. I have to end the call because we'll be on the radio in less than 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio on this Tuesday morning. Welcome. We have so much to cover. But I'm going to start with what President Trump is doing right now, which is just fantastical. President Trump has gotten us into two glorious wars, and I'm not being sarcastic. These are the best wars that we should have been in a long time ago. One of them is, now both of these wars have been known by catchphrases that were meaningless, but the first one is the war on crime. War on crime was just some campaign slogan that politicians would say around election time in the 80s and 90s. Even Bill Clinton, when he ran for president the first time, was talking about the war on crime, was going to put 100,000 new cops on the street, and he didn't do that, of course. He was counting police dogs and computers as cops on the street. Remember all that? President Trump has taken the war on crime to really mean something, and that's why he's gotten the okay to send the army into Portland, San Francisco. Chicago's coming up. He's rid Memphis of crime, and of course rid Washington, D.C. of crime. So that's the first war, the war on crime, which I strongly support. War on crime is a just war, which we'll talk about in more detail. The second one is another war that's been a catchphrase forever and a day is the war on drugs. President Trump is literally at war against drugs. He's taken it to the cartels. He's taken it to Venezuela. He's taken it to Colombia. And these narco-terrorist organizations and the cartels and their affiliate terrorist outlets, we're at war against them. I saw the video this morning. They released it, and I retweeted this. If you've not seen it, you should see this, of the submarine, the drug cartel submarine that President Trump had taken out last week. This was a real submarine. It looked like Hunt for Red October, okay, watching this submarine. When President Trump said on Friday that we took out a submarine, I thought it was going to be like one of those homemade ones, like the one that blew up down by the Titanic, made out of plexiglass. This looked like a real naval submarine. I'm very curious if he got it from like Venezuela's Navy or something. It looked like an old naval submarine, a real one that we took out that the cartels had. And these two wars, the war on drugs is a foreign war, and by my count, the United States, we've been in a lot of wars. This war is the first war since the Civil War that is a war 100% fought by the United States for the betterment of this great country and the American people, ridding us of drugs. And I'll go through them real quick, and then I'll get into some new stuff about it. And by the way, the president of Colombia has committed an act of war. He is the president of Colombia, in a television interview, was it Univision or Telemundo, one of those Spanish language outlets, I have it here somewhere, he threatened the president of the United States. Yeah, Univision. He threatened the life of the president of the United States, the president of Colombia. So the president of Colombia has committed an act of war against the United States, and that's why we're talking about this right now. By the way, if you'd like to call in and share your thoughts, the number's toll-free wherever you're tuned in from at 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. The wars that we've been in that benefited the American people directly and this great country are as follows by my count. And again, if I have left one out, let me know. Here they are. We're in the fourth war now, if you count the war on drugs and the war on crime as one war. If not, we're in the fifth. We've got I'm listing the wars that the United States has been in that were 100% for the benefit of defending our country and defending the American people. The American Revolution, the War of 1812, remember the British tried to conquer us again. The Civil War, where we fought to free the slaves from Democrat, slave-owning, racist. And now the war on drugs and the war on crime is one. This is the fourth war. All the other wars were for other people. I'm not saying that those wars were unjust. I'm just telling you that all the other wars we have been in are to fight for other countries, not our own. Right now, at least 10% of the U.S. naval surface combat forces are in the Caribbean fighting the war on drugs in actual combat. This may be the first time, I'm thinking, since the Civil War that the United States Navy has been involved in battles directly for this country. Maybe. We've been in a lot of wars, but these are the only 4 that I know of where they've been fighting directly for this country and for the betterment of our people. And the war on drugs I'm going to talk about first, and then the war on crime. I did a little bit of research and couldn't find any data on this, but I don't do drugs, okay? So I don't know what the current prices are on drugs. But most people, if you're listening to me now and you do drugs that are, the first one is probably that you're doing is marijuana. Well, marijuana is pretty much legal everywhere now. You can order it online and have it delivered to your home legally, pretty much everywhere, So that's not really what they're shipping in. What they're shipping in mainly is fentanyl and cocaine. Fentanyl and cocaine. And President Trump, when he shut down the border months ago, shut down almost 100% the illegal drug importation into this country. Almost 100% of it was coming through the southern border. The illegals were walking across the border with drugs that they were transporting for the cartels. He shut that down. Now they're trying to do it by water, and they're blowing the boats out of the water. And it just makes common sense with basic economics of supply and demand that the price of cocaine has had to have skyrocketed in the last few months. I would not be surprised if it's between 400% increase to 1,000% increase in the price for powdered cocaine in this country because of Trump's war on drugs and shutting down the border. It's basic supply and demand. There's less of it in the country. It's not like marijuana that's available everywhere and grown here. Cocaine's different. It's got to be in short supply. So it's had to go up through the roof. Now, fentanyl, from what I understand, is cheap per pill, but even that's getting difficult to bring in. The illegals were bringing that in too. So it still may be low cost in compared to cocaine, but that's had to go up as well. And I could not find a single news story talking about the increase in the illegal drug prices. They love to talk about inflation, and there's no way that inflation has not hit the illegal drug prices. And there's no data on it. And I'm not expecting to get calls on it because very few people would call in and own up to doing illegal drugs. And those who did are, they're junkies. You can't rely on them for what they say for the data. But that's the kind of inflation that you want a president to have. You want massive inflation on illegal drugs. It weans people off of them. The other one, the war on crime, sending the feds with backup from our army in these blue cities where the citizens are being terrorized. The war on crime has been another catchphrase, and he's taken us into that too, to rid America's blue cities of crime. Who could be against that? Who could be against that? These are not only just wars that the president has gotten us into. They should have been fought decades ago. And I support all of it. He got the okay from the judges to send the National Guard into Portland. I can't wait to start getting those massive Antifa arrests. I wonder how many of them are going to end up being school teachers. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser-away pain treatment and his robotic laser. Are you in pain? A lot of people, they get hooked on drugs because they're in pain. And if you're taking medication of any kind for pain, that's really bad news because, pain is your body signaling that something's wrong. And when you take medication for it, you're just masking this damage, and you could very well be making it worse. You know, with Dr. Appleton's robotic laser, there are no drugs. In fact, the robotic laser repairs the damage that's causing you the pain. That's why the 7 times he's rid me of pains, the pains have not returned. It's absolutely phenomenal. By the way, there's no surgery, no shots, no injections. I know shots and injections are the same thing, but I want to highlight it. I've known people that go in and get those shots in their knees for pain. I had people over the years before Dr. Appleton rid me of my knee pain, many people, including doctors, told me to go get those shots. I'm like, I got to get a shot every couple of months in my knee? That sounds nuts. My 30 years of suffering from knee pain gone after just 2 visits with Dr. Appleton. He's that good. And the consultation is free. Plus, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome. So go see Dr. Appleton. Talk to him about how his robotic laser can do what it's done with me. Rid you of pain without drugs, without surgery, without downtime. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it when it's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. Call us on hold. Stand by. We'll be right back. All right, we're in break. I'm going to take the calls when we get back from the break. But, you know, here you've got the president of Colombia. And I would like you to, he said here in an interview with Uninotion, what is that? Is that Univision? Colombia's commander-in-chief threatened to overthrow President Trump, they write. He says threats must be taken seriously. He, meaning Trump, is a genuine threat to the safety and security of our hemisphere, and he must be taken out. What does that mean? Has the president of... Now, let me know, yes or no on this. You can let me know in the chat, and you can call and share your thoughts. Has the president of Colombia committed an act of war against the United States by his threatening the president of the United States? What do you say to that? I say, yes, he has. Do you agree with that? Has the president of Colombia committed an act of war against the United States? And does he look like a president? He looks like somebody who's in with the cartels to me. I don't know. Or just doesn't look, he does not look right. Okay. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to go to the call. So if you're on hold, stand by. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. And I want to remind you guys that next week, end of the week, I got my meeting with Mike Lindell and his staff if they're going to continue the sponsorship. So please go to mypillow.com. Use our promo code Kane at checkout and let Mike Lindell know that his money sponsoring the expansion of the show is money well spent.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, we're back. So make sure you do that and let Mike Lindell know that his support of the expansion of the program is money well spent. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com. All right, we're going to be back in about 20 seconds, and then we'll go to the phones. But no, I think that what the president of Colombia has done is, without question, an act of war. All right, stand by. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Turn down the volume in the background of your... Turn down the volume of your computer.
My bad.
Okay. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I can still hear the computer.
My name is John. I'm calling... No, I turned it off.
All right, John.
John, I'm calling from North Carolina.
John from North Carolina. What say you?
I'll just say hi. I saw you had a phone open.
Oh, hello to you. That's it?
Yeah.
Just wanted to say hi. You just wanted to say hi. You've been on hold for like 10 minutes.
Do you want to debate?
Debate? Well, what have I said? I don't know why. You disagree with something I've said? How's that possible? I've been so right on everything. Well, pick something you heard me say that you take issue with.
I disagree with everything you said.
That we should stop illegal drugs coming into the country? You want illegal drugs coming to America?
Oh, no, that one we can keep.
Okay, blue cities should have to suffer under crime and violent criminals?
Oh, no, we can get rid of that.
Okay, well, you're MAGA. You sound MAGA. You agree with me?
What you mean?
You're against crime and drug trafficking?
No, I mean, like, look at your hat.
My Trump hat?
Yeah.
What about it?
So you believe in a third term for Trump, right?
I support President Trump having a third and fourth and fifth term. Yeah, absolutely.
So you want him to, like, be like a totalitarian government, right?
No, I want him to run and have the American people vote and decide if they want him back for a third term. And by the way, you can run Obama against him if you want. What?
I mean, you're saying that we should upend our election process?
No, I think we should change the law allowing him to run for a third term, and you could have Obama run against him if you wanted. You know, I mean,
I
don't
want Obama in office though.
Anyone. Well, a Democrat. Pick a Democrat. Any Democrat could run against him. Just pick a Democrat. What are you, against democracy?
No, I'm just saying. I don't think that we should extend terms. I think we should start limiting them more, especially for people in Congress.
Well, that's not going to happen. Because Congress passes the laws, and they're not going to change the laws to put them out of work. So that's,
you think that people should be lifers in politics?
We did not have term limits for presidents.
That's how corruption happened.
No, we did not have term limits for presidents until the 1950s. For the vast majority of American history, there were no term limits. We had presidents that...
I mean, true.
We had one president who was elected to 4 terms, Franklin Roosevelt.
Okay.
Ulysses S. Grant ran for a third term. He didn't win the nomination, but Ulysses S. Grant ran for a third term after he was president for 8 years. I think that the people should decide who the president is.
Okay. Do you think Congress should have term limits?
What I think, I live in the real world, not the world of should. The Congress will not pass a law putting them out of work. There will never be term limits passed in Congress. It would have to be a new law passed by the Congress. They're not going to do that.
Well, you're talking about should with removing the term limits for the president, too.
I support doing it, and there's a movement to do it. And that one's realistic because President Trump is incredibly popular, and it's incredibly popular that Congress would change the law doing away with term limits because there's so much public support for it in the MAGA movement, which are the majority of the people in this great country.
I don't think so. Like, I've talked to plenty of MAGA people, and they don't agree with Trump running for a third term.
Well, then they're not MAGA.
Well, I don't think
they're fake MAGA. They're fake MAGA.
I don't think you can put like a box on what MAGA is.
Trump is MAGA. Trump is MAGA. Trump created the movement.
I mean,
Trump is MAGA.
But I mean, the people who support Trump vary widely.
Well, I don't care. The people that are true MAGA want President Trump to run again. Hey, listen, welcome to the show, but listen to the show, and when you hear me say something you disagree with, call me about that, all right? Take care, all right? I appreciate the call. All right, let's go. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Richard in Pompano.
Hey, Richard.
Okay, regarding drugs.
You got to speak up. You're mumbling a little bit.
Okay, I remember hearing Trump say that he's trying to get the funds to finish the wall. Do you know anything about that?
I think they already got it in the big beautiful bill. They're working on it. What's going to happen? I think in the big beautiful bill they got that. What's going to happen is he's been on the down low on the wall because when it's done, he'll have a big ceremony down there and it'll be a big surprise.
All right, I kind of was wondering if they're still working on it.
Of course, yeah. Of course They're working on it. Yeah, they're working on it around the clock. They've been working on it for months. All right, take care. It'll be one day we'll just turn on the news and we're going to find there's going to be a huge event at the Great Wall of Trump at the completion ceremony. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, 3 times and you're out. If you're on hold, stand by. There's a new poll in the New York mayor's race that has Andrew Cuomo up 11 points. Have you seen this poll? Andrew Cuomo is up 11 points in the latest poll in the New York City mayor's race. And coming up in a little bit, I'm going to go through that with you, okay? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mike, New York.
Hey, Mike. What's up?
None. You got a lot to say about the Democrats and Republicans. I really want to know about what you have to say about Trump letting that guy go from New York.
You talking about George Santos?
Yes.
I support that.
Why would you support that? The guy did nothing but lie to get to where he was.
Do you know why George Santos went to prison?
I'm all ears.
Do you know? You think he belongs in prison? You must know.
Oh, absolutely.
What did he do? What did he do? Why did he go to prison?
Because he lied to get to where he was.
Nope.
Amongst other things.
Lying's not illegal.
He also stole money.
No, that's not why he went to prison.
Okay, so explain. Please.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
He went to prison. He committed 2 major felonies in the Democrat Party.
Major felony.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what the felonies are. You're wrong on both counts. These are felonies that were federal crimes when the auto pen administration of Joe Biden was running the country, and that's when George Santos went to prison. His first crime was turning a Democrat blue district Republican red. That was his first crime. In his second crime,
I'll be honest with you.
No, you weren't being. No, I'm not finished with the answer.
Right,
the second
crime,
his first crime he committed, major felony with Democrats. His first crime was that he turned a blue Democrat congressional district red, MAGA red. That was his first crime. In his second major crime,
Staten Island and like some of the
it was a blue district. It was
automatically red.
This was a blue district. This was a strong Democrat district that he flipped red.
Can you tell me where?
I don't remember the exact district. Listen, if you're going to disagree with every comma, okay, just let me finish my thought. His second crime, it was a Democrat district. He flipped it red. His second crime was that he's gay and Republican MAGA. He's gays for Trump.
My brother was gay. I have no problem with people.
Well, I'm not talking about you. I'm telling you the 2 crimes he committed.
My brother, not me, my brother.
Okay, in case anybody, he committed those 2 crimes. He went to prison because he's gays for Trump and flipped a blue district red. That's why he went to prison. They're all thieves in Congress. How do you think your senator, Chuck Schumer, who's got the government shut down, he's worth over $80 million and he's worked for the government his whole life since he got out of law school. How do you think he got all that money?
All right, I agree with that. But if you want to talk about money, look at fucking...
Oh, my God. First dump. No. First dump of the day. Oh, my goodness. But you know what? It's time for a break anyway. Indeed it is. Oh, man. We have a new sponsor joining the show a little later today I'm going to be telling you about. But first, though, I want to talk about... Friendly Tire and Margate. I used to drive around on tires I shouldn't be driving around on. I really did, because tires can be so expensive, until I found Friendly Tire in Margate. And the message from Friendly Tire in Margate is simply this: lowest prices on tires you'll find anywhere. We have listeners that drive over an hour each way to get tires from Friendly Tire. And I've been telling you guys, Steve's wife, Lori, got 4 new tires on their Toyota Highlander, 4 new tires for hundreds of dollars less than what the dealer wanted for just 2. Isn't that amazing? She got 4 new brand new tires out the door and on the road. 4 new tires for hundreds of dollars less than what the dealer wanted for 2. Yeah. And I went over to Friendly Tire and I said, hey, Mike, I want to tell people about this. Did she get a special deal because she's Steve's? He said, no, that's the deal everyone gets when they call me. I was like, wow. So give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. He will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. It's 954-977-9445. Mention me and the Steve Kane Show. He'll take extra good care of you. We'll be right back. Callers on hold, stand by. Don't go anywhere. Oh, man, we have so much to cover on the program today. I want to tell you guys about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Oh, man. You know, if you're in the state of Florida and you have any roof work of any kind that needs to be done, call Tom Laporta. And you've heard me talk a lot about him over the years. I want to focus in on one. I'm going to talk about this a lot today on the program because this is so important. Tom Laporta has a skill set that he could have a whole business with outside of the roofing and contractor business. He has a skill set working with homeowners associations like I've never seen before. You know, when he did the work on Steve's house, Steve has an HOA that hates him because he's a well-known Republican. HOA's liberal. And Steve wanted a new style roof that's different than the rest of the community. Tom Laporta was able to go to his HOA and get all the work approved. I was shocked because they hate him like the plague over there. They hate Steve like the plague in his HOA. But Tom Laporta got it taken care of. So if you're with an HOA or you have an HOA to deal with, call Tom Laporta about your roof because he's very good with them. He works on all types of structures, residential, commercial, municipal. He can also handle the job of any size. So whether it's one home or one office building or an HOA with 450 units, he can handle that. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida, everywhere in between. And you can see here on the screen, he was voted best roofing company in Fort Lauderdale. That's saying a lot because of the hurricanes in Florida, we have more roofing companies than the average community. So give Tom Laporta a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, so you can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602 for Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. All right, let me take a call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Vince, Spokane, Washington.
Okay, what's on your mind, Washington?
I'm just curious. Down there in Florida, we have an open air drug policy, and it's killing us as far as homeless people in the streets. You know, kids walking down a downtown corridor and smelling in fentanyl smoke. Is that a thing down in Florida in your neck of the woods?
No, you can you can do any drug you want out in the open right before you're arrested and sent to jail. Okay, you'll go to jail real quick. Oh yeah.
Right. And I'm on the Idaho-Washington kind of border, and when I go to Idaho, it's just a complete breath of fresh air, not having to deal with that, and I'm just so sick of it. And I just don't know what to do anymore as far as, you know, getting our public safety back in this part
People
of the country.
Smoke fentanyl? I didn't even know that. They smoke fentanyl? I don't do drugs, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, neither do I, but, you know, West Coast, most Schedule I drugs are decriminalized, so it's an open-air drug policy. It was adapted from Vancouver, BC, and their open-air drug policy from, you know, back 10, 15 years ago, and it's really ruining.
Who would be in favor of something so stupid?
The Democrats and the far left, yeah, it's terrible.
It is. It is. Well, move to Florida and the free state of Florida where drugs are not allowed like that out in the open. No.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care. Take care. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michael Marcillo.
Hey, Mike. Well, hold on, Mike. We're coming back from the break, so on the radio. So I'm gonna put you on hold. I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, hold on. We got 30 seconds. I just looked at the clock. Stand by. MAG is strong. That's right, James. All right, welcome back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. Mike, where are you calling from?
How are you?
Where are you calling from, Mike?
New York, Staten Island.
Hey, are you the guy I was just talking to?
Yeah, but we got this.
I hung up. It's one call per show, but you're new.
But you hung up before you could answer my question. I asked you a question and boop.
No, I had to take a commercial break.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I'm not. I'm running a show
May
here.
I just ask you the one question? Why do you have a Trump 2028 hat on?
Well, because I love Trump. I believe Trump is the greatest president, not just of my lifetime, but quite possibly in our nation's history. And I'd like him to.
Rapist, somebody who does all those horrible things, gives money to.
I don't support. No, I don't support.
People.
Bill Clinton was called out by multiple women for assaults, including rape.
Also stabilized our economy.
So you can rape people as long as you stabilize the economy. Then
he
then
fucked
what?
up. No
there we
doubt,
go
right?
again. Oh, we had to use the dump again. All right. Oh my goodness, we had to use the dump again twice. Same guy. Oh, my goodness. I tell you, these people on the left, they can't control themselves. Bill Clinton, Juanita Broderick was raped twice by President Clinton. Everybody knew it, and they reelected him. Paula Jones, he beat her up, right? Bloodied her lip and said, hey, you should put some ice on that. Remember all that? They reelected him, okay? Now, all of a sudden, liberals, women should be believed, and if women say anything, and of course those charges and accusations against President Trump are 100% untrue. Okay, so there is a new poll. I hung up on him the first time because of his language. I'd forgotten about that. There's a new poll out that has Andrew Cuomo 11 points ahead of Mamdani, of Zohan. And by the way, I'm not kidding. It's true. Have you seen this poll? And then there's another new poll that has him 38 points behind. So look at this. This is a new poll that's out. Among Americans from New York, right? These are Americans who are from New York, okay, that are U.S. born. From U.S. born New Yorkers, Andrew Cuomo is 11 points ahead of Mamdani in the latest poll. Among foreign-born New Yorkers, Mamdani is 36 points ahead. What does that tell you? Yesterday we found out I got something new on him too. I wasn't going to get into this Mamdani stuff today. And I should have queued this up during the break because I knew I was going to bring up the poll. There's a new video of him that I got to try to find here that I know I have it on my X somewhere. But yesterday we were talking about Mamdani. There was that picture of him with the unindicted co-conspirator from the first World Trade Center bombing in '93. That is that's a terrorist. And, and I was telling you guys yesterday, and he went out of his way to take that photograph and pose with that guy. I'm looking for this new Mamdani clip that I found, and I know I've got it somewhere. Oh, boy. Well, I will find it and play it for you at some point today. There's a new clip of him that's got to be played on the air. I've lost it. Well, I'll get it in a minute. But anyway... Anyway, he's with a World Trade Center bomber, a terrorist. He took a picture with him in his office, and it doesn't matter. And what I told you guys yesterday, that if Mamdani had a picture arm in arm with Muhammad Atta, it wouldn't hurt him in the polls. Okay? The people of New York City are so far gone now, they can't even see straight. Okay? They hate Jews. The city's been taken over. And by the way, if I take a call again from that guy from New York, I'm going to have to ban. I mean, I let him on a second time, which goes against the rules. And he used the F word both times. So if he calls one more time, I'm going to have to ban him. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Yep. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on a second here. Hold on. All right. You're on. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
Jersey.
Lewis in Jersey. What say you?
What is it?
I said, what say you? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling, but you were talking about what Trump is doing and the cocaine and the prices and all that.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I just started watching the show.
Welcome.
About a month ago.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It is.
Thank you.
Just realized I'm actually Republican.
You just realized you're a Republican? That's awesome. Because of me?
Pretty much. You have a lot.
Wow, I read here's somebody new. You're my latest red pilling. I've red pilled a lot of people. Well, welcome to freedom. Welcome to the real world, to quote Morpheus.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But what he's doing with the drugs and all that, I agree with it. Here's the thing. I'll be honest. I am an addict.
Really? You're a drug addict?
Yes, I do coke.
Cocaine?
And what you're saying about the prices and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What you used to get for what you used to pay, you don't get it.
Okay, now this is I'm glad you called. This is great. So we got an honest drug. So you use powdered cocaine?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the price now as opposed to what it was like a year ago?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what they pay. What I buy, I get a quarter of what I used to get. So I'm not no rich guy. I don't get a lot. I'll just a couple bags every once in a while. But you don't get what you used to.
The price has gone up a lot. So you're doing less drugs because the price has gone up.
Right.
So President Trump's like a drug rehab guy, too. That's awesome.
Pretty much, yeah.
How much do you spend? How much do you spend on your habit?
Let me put it like this. I lost a business, and so I'm working now. Pretty much my whole check, couple hundred.
Wow. So somebody do the math for me. I'm not good at the math. So if you are getting a quarter of what you used to get for your money, how much has the price gone up? Can somebody do the math on that for me? I'm not good with the math. You're getting.
If you buy $100 worth of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're getting $100 worth of it. Now you're getting $25 worth of it.
Wow. 75%. Okay, so they're telling me in the chat room that's a 75% inflation rate on cocaine. That's a good thing. And maybe one of the reasons you've realized you're a Republican is you're doing less because it's so expensive.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of things he does.
So there's a 75% increase in the price of cocaine? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Maybe you'll finally get your whole life together. You sound like you're doing pretty good already.
Well, I'm trying. I'm working.
What do you do for work?
I work on cars.
Okay, like a mechanic. Oh, that's great. You can always find work doing that.
I'm a technician.
Oh, that's great. Like an auto mechanic, auto technician.
Yeah, I do electronics on them.
Somebody just told me it's a 300% increase. 400%. Okay, I got two numbers here. Someone do the math. I'm hearing 300% and 400% increase in price. See, I was pretty close. I said 400 before you called. They're telling me it's between 300% and 400% increase in the price of cocaine. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that information, and I also appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I'm a good person. I just have been through a bad past. That's all.
Listen, I've known people that are hooked on drugs, and I have sympathy for drug addicts. It's a tough thing. I can't give up my coffee at Starbucks because of Like if I don't, I get withdrawals. I get headaches and stuff. I can only imagine if it's something serious like what your addiction is, cocaine. It's I can only imagine. So I have a lot of sympathy, and I can tell by talking to you that you don't want to do it. You're just addicted.
Right.
Unlike Hunter Biden.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 51.
Wow. How long you been doing the cocaine? Whole life?
Probably about 5 years.
5 years. Were you doing another drug before that?
Way before. I was on it before, and then I got off of it for like 8 years and got back on it.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate the call. Wow, that's a great call. So I'm hearing in the chat room that's a 300 or 400% increase. Can somebody do the math on that for me? He's getting a quarter. What he used, he's getting a quarter of what he used to get for the same money. That's President Trump. That's the kind of inflation you want, isn't it? Who would be against that inflation? Who would be against that inflation? That is. I'm so glad he called. That I was not expecting to get that call today. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, and I talk a lot about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing and all the great work he does, but I want to talk about something a little different that's very, very important. Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing covers both the east and west coast of Florida, so pretty much the whole state of Florida, the high population, pretty much. Do you know that 80% of Floridians live with an HOA? Isn't that something? 80% of Floridians live in an HOA community. Mine's awful. I mean, they're just awful. It's just they're terrible. They're impossible to deal with. But what I wanted to talk about today with Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing is Tom Laporta has a skill set that I've not seen anyone else have, and he could have an entire business just with this. And that is, he has an amazing ability to work with homeowners associations and their boards. It's amazing. And when you're in Florida, people are afraid of their HOAs, aren't they? Oh my goodness. The HOAs are god awful. You can't deal with them. But Tom Laporta can. So if you're with an HOA or you have an HOA, call Tom Laporta for that free estimate on your roof replacement or repair, because he's got that skill set. It's almost like magic. It really is. It's like witchcraft. Because my HOA, forget about it. You're not getting anything from them other than them telling you, they're raising the HOA fees, and then you better lockstep in line or you're in trouble. So call Tom Laporta. But Tom Laporta, he's also not just a roofer, he's a contractor. And under Florida law, he's able to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. And that goes for your home, your business, if you're a municipality, whatever you have, a church, whatever you have, an HOA community, he can deal directly with your insurance company as well. Not only does that speed things along quite a bit, but sometimes people's insurance companies aren't doing what they should do, and people hire public adjusters. Some even hire attorneys. I've been there myself in the past with a public adjuster. It's a mess, and it takes about a year if you're lucky enough to settle, and then you got to give like 20% of it to the public adjuster, and then you still got to get the roof done. It's crazy, and if you hire a lawyer, it's even more. But with Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, you may be able to avoid all of that hassle if you've got a difficult insurance company. So call Tom Laporta. This number again rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, and online, laportaroofing.com. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear. I think that might be the best call of the day. So, guys, is that a 300 or a 400% increase? He's getting for the same money, a quarter of what he used to get. Is that 3 or a 400% increase? I heard both in the chat. That's great. We should most definitely be thanking Trump for that. Most definitely. 400% increase. Okay, I'm going to go with that because more people have given me that than the other. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take the calls after the break. Where am I? Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, man, oh, man. So my estimation was correct. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. We'll be back. I'll go to the calls when we get back. Oh, man, oh, man. Oh, stretching my legs. Little morning exercises. Have, about a minute, we'll be back. Welcome, everyone. Great calls today, I must say. The quality of the calls has been pretty good. I think so. Absolutely. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. We're in a radio station break. We'll be back in less than a minute. Mm-hmm. So that we've got a 400% increase in the price of cocaine, according to our addict. That's amazing. 30 seconds. Isn't that something? Wow. Does everyone agree that's a good thing, that cocaine costs 400% more than it used to? Is that a good thing, yes or no, in the chat? Is that a good thing? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm calling actually from Japan.
Okay.
I'm an American and I live overseas.
Okay.
But, sorry, can't talk.
He's been on hold for like 20 minutes, and now all of a sudden he can't talk. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, that last call before the break was an amazing. I made an estimate, and it turns out I was right. He is a cocaine addict, and he said that cocaine prices, we did some math in the chat room, because of President Trump shutting down the border and war on the drug cartels, prices have gone up on cocaine 400%. So there's massive inflation on cocaine. That's a good thing. Now, did you see what happened with Caroline Leavitt yesterday? This was so super cool. President Trump announced there's going to be a summit meeting in Budapest with President Trump leading the summit meeting between Putin and Zelensky. Hopefully it comes through. And a Huffington Post reporter text messaged Caroline Leavitt, and they had an exchange, and it was so funny. I wish this happened in the press briefing room, so we have audio, but it was just a text message exchange. Listen to this. The Huffington Post reporter texted Caroline Leavitt this. Is the president aware of the significance of Budapest? ? In 1994, Russia promised in Budapest not to invade Ukraine if it gave up the nuclear weapons it inherited when the Soviet Union dissolved. Does he not see why Ukraine might object to that site? ? Who suggested Budapest? ? Thanks. So the Huffington Post reporter texted that to Caroline Leavitt. Who suggested Budapest is what she was asking. Did Caroline Leavitt responded in a text, your mom did. Isn't that the best? Your mom did. So the Huffington Post reporter texted her back and said, is this funny to you? And then Caroline Leavitt texted back this. It's funny to me that you actually consider yourself a journalist. You are a far-left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues in the media. They don't just tell you that to your face. Stop texting me your disingenuous, bias, and BS questions. But BS she wrote out in full. Caroline Leavitt. That is hilarious. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. I never saw her as a girl using the profanities, but I like it. That was pretty good. I like it. Caroline Leavitt. She's the best. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Joe from Ohio.
Joe from Ohio. All right. What's up, Joe?
Yes, sir. Hey, I just had a quick question, and I hope you can answer it. I was wondering, do you think the majority of Americans would prefer safety over freedom?
You have to be more specific. That's a very generic question. Give me an example of something going on right now that you're talking about.
Okay. Well, what's going on now is you got military on the streets of America.
Hold on one second. We've got the military on the streets of America. Which street? Where in America is the military on the streets that you're referencing, that you're concerned about?
They're trying to get Chicago.
Okay, Chicago.
States,
all right, let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about Chicago. So, so you're asking me, would I rather have the military in Chicago or freedom in Chicago? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is the law-abiding citizens of Chicago are not free. They're being held hostage in a.
So should we?
Do you know who's holding them hostage? In Chicago?
Criminals, of course.
Yeah, the violent criminals. Many of them are organized from the drug cartels. So the only people that are losing their freedom with what Trump is going to do in Chicago, Portland, San Francisco, what he's done in Washington and Memphis and other cities, is the criminals are going to lose this freedom they have to go out and rape, murder, and shoot people and stuff. So the only ones, that's it. The citizens are going to be free when that's done. It's just like we sent the army into France in 1944, right? We were liberating the people of France from an occupation.
Well,
and Chicago was occupied by criminal gangs and murderers and rapists and drug cartel people. And these other cities are occupied by criminal gangs too.
So I noticed a little trend there is that we go to other countries and just, and we take over their countries in a way, in a sense. but nobody's ever came over here to attack us.
Yeah,
now,
sure,
like,
sure.
people
Latin
that-
America, no, Latin America's been invading us for years. 25 million illegals invaded our country during the Biden presidency. And
that's wrong. You should come over
Chicago,
here legally.
Chicago is being occupied by Latin American gangs, MS-13 and the Trinda gang. They are occupying Chicago. They are a foreign terrorist organization that is occupying and terrorizing the people of Chicago. They're a foreign terrorist
because
organization.
I know Roosevelt said that if you desire safety over freedom, you deserve neither.
But he was an anti-Semite and a racist. Do you know that President Roosevelt did not allow black people to participate in the New Deal programs that put people to work? And he also was opposed to federal anti-lynching legislation. So he was a racist in league with the Klan.
That's his feelings. I mean,
Well, he was a racist who was in league with the Klan.
Well, he's allowed to feel that way. That's what makes America so.
Yeah, but
great,
I
is that
don't
you're
hold
allowed
up
to
racist. I don't hold up racists that support lynching like Roosevelt did as examples. Hey, I got to run for a break. Thank you for your call. No, you quoted him. Thank you for your call. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. 888-465-2631 is our number. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
All right, yeah, guys, please. I got my meeting next week with Mike Lindell. They're going to let me know if they're going to continue the sponsorship. So use our promo code Kane. These great deals. Start doing your Christmas shopping. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you're missed your chance. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take more calls when we get back. Well, I'm just... Okay, I've got to get organized here. They're telling me what commercials I got to do in the next hour. Oh man, where is... Okay, here it is. All right, just getting organized for the next hour. Okay. Where am I going to go when we get back? Hold on. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take calls when we get back from the break. Okay. We'll be back in less than a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. 25 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Well, wait, we've had some great calls today. We had a call in the last hour who is a cocaine addict who's trying to get off the drugs, and he tells us that because of President Trump shutting down the border and taking the war to the cartels in the ocean, blowing up their boats and submarines, that cocaine prices have increased by 400%. So we have 400% inflation on cocaine prices, according to an addict who called us. And that's good inflation, isn't it? That's a good thing. Just got a call before the top of the hour from a guy from Ohio, and he's concerned about the military in the streets, getting all these criminals. You know, Memphis isn't getting a lot of publicity, but the president sent the Guard and the feds there. The Daily Wire: ICE nabs dangerous illegal immigrants during Memphis crime crackdown. Memphis has suffered, this is in the Daily Wire, Memphis has suffered from historic levels of violent crime, including a murder rate that is 4 times higher than Mexico City. Holy smokes. The president's crime crackdown in Memphis led to the arrest of serious illegal immigrant criminals, illegal immigrant gang members, pedophiles, rapists, domestic abusers, and drug traffickers have all been taken off the streets of Memphis by federal immigration authorities deployed by President Donald Trump to Memphis in recent weeks. Memphis has suffered from historic levels of violent crime, including a murder rate that's 4 times higher than Mexico City. No American should be afraid to walk down the streets of their own neighborhood, says the Assistant Homeland Security Secretary. In Memphis, the Department of Homeland Security law enforcement is working hand in glove with Attorney General Pam Bondi to enhance public safety, fight crime, and provide much-needed support to our law enforcement partners. These are arrests in Memphis. Okay. Authorities arrested Honduran illegal immigrant Luis Alfredo Maldonado Lopez. How do you fit all that on a driver's license? Who was previously apprehended for fondling a child, according to Homeland Security. Also captured was Mexican Sereno 13 gang member Jose Eduardo Minya Perez, who was previously convicted of burglary, destroying evidence, unlawful carrying and possession of a weapon, arrested for larceny, possession of narcotic equipment, assault, and aggravated assault with a weapon. Luis Alberto Candova Bandela, they all have 4 names, these guys. This is all in Memphis. An illegal from Mexico was previously arrested for domestic violence, aggravated assault of a police officer, and resisting. A convicted illegal immigrant smuggler was also caught. It goes on. I mean, this is awesome stuff. So ICE and the National Guard are cleaning up the streets of Memphis, Tennessee. You guys can go to Graceland in safety soon. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, the Republicans don't seem to want to learn from the Democrats that you don't go say anything against anybody on your party. But Senator Paul comes out and says, what President Trump is doing, blowing up these ships, is not the American way. Mm-hmm. Well, what the hell is the American way then? Just to let them come in and give us the drugs?
Let me tell you, Rand Paul's a jerk. See, this is the problem. You know, we don't talk to libertarians on the show because they're terrible people. Libertarians, if it were up to them, nothing would get done.
Yeah.
And he's basically, libertarians like Rand Paul think they're intellectually superior to everyone. They're a higher type of conservative. They're on a higher plane than the rest of us. He's a narcissist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes I've heard him say some things that I thought were pretty good, but
I don't know
to say
why.
that
I don't
is
know why
the-
these liberals always are attacking him. Remember, and Antifa and BLM attacked him when he left the White House once with his wife, and then that Democrat broke his ribs when he was mowing his lawn in Kentucky. He says things that liberals like.
Well, I guess, but he also said things that they don't like. So I guess well, first of all, the liberals hate anybody that is not a liberal. So you have to be a liberal, otherwise, you're the enemy. You know, it's kind of like kind of like the Muslims think that the infidel you have to die. But anyway, you know, what does this guy want? The drugs are coming in. President Trump is doing a great job stopping and making people.
Well, as a
afraid to
libertarian,
bring the-
libertarians probably believe drugs should not be illegal.
Yeah,
it wouldn't
that's
surprise
probably
me.
true.
But did you hear? I got a caller about half an hour ago. He's a cocaine addict, and he told me cocaine prices have increased by 400% since President Trump.
Yes.
Isn't that great?
I heard that. That's fantastic. Fantastic.
See,
You
now
know,
that
how
was
many times-
journalism right there. We just broke news. I did some research trying to find out about drug prices and couldn't. And I get a call from a user, and he tells us 400% increase in cocaine prices under President Trump. That's inflation to celebrate.
That's for sure. You know, how many times I've been in clubs and they're selling drugs like it's legal. You know, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking now that the drug trade is suffering, and it's about time.
Yeah.
How many people?
Did you
wreck
see
their
the
lives
submarine
like
that they
did?
blew out of the water? That Trump blew up out of the
Yeah,
water? That's like a
and then
real
something-
submarine.
Man, they got the money to waste on the drugs. They're making. That's how much they're making. You know, I remember seeing on Channel 13 years ago, the guy had a warehouse full of money up to the ceiling. You know, that's not the kind of money the guy. The money on the bottom was rotting from the water. So these guys got to be stopped.
Well,
And
this
President
submarine, this looked like a Navy submarine that the drug cartel somehow got a hold of. The one we blew up. This is a real. When I heard President Trump say they blew up a submarine, I thought it was one of those things like, you know, if you go snorkeling, you know, you go in that little bubble thing that's made out of plexiglass or whatever in Fort Lauderdale. This is like a real naval. Now, it may be an older one, but it looks like it's a real naval submarine that we blew up that the cartels had. They got their own navy.
They got their own navy. The cartels have weapons, all kinds of weapons that they shouldn't have. Unbelievable, man. Money buys everything they want. Somebody's always out to sell something, whether it's from Russia or
This
China.
submarine. I
somebody will
bet
sell.
you this submarine is. If you went back in time with this submarine, you could probably win the whole Second World War with it. It's like a real 80s, 90s submarine. Yeah, it's like Hunt for Red October. I mean, it's like a real submarine. This is not some snorkeling trip submersible thing. This is a real submarine. They probably got like navy. This is from somebody's navy.
Yeah, man. Somebody. Just amazing that they have all these methods to bring the drugs in here. You know, submarines and for planes dropping drugs. And,
Well, not anymore. Cocaine prices are up 400% thanks to Donald Trump.
That's great. That is great, and hopefully he'll continue. But you know, just to think that right away, that's you have to declare war to do something is the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
it's a police action.
Mm-hmm.
It's a police action.
All right, Doug, I'm gonna run, but I wanted to tell you, I might have mentioned this to you before. Did you look up David Lee Roth and these recent concerts he's been putting on?
No,
because you're an old rocker. You're an old band guy, an old rock guy. You got to check him out. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. It's really sad.
Yeah, man, he doesn't look very good.
Well, and he's got a big problem too. On top of the fact that he looks like he's senile and has Alzheimer's, and he's up there just smiling while the band's playing the music. He can't even sing, but he wears these tight leather pants. And he's a big TikTok sensation. He has a micro penis, and you can see he can see it in the pants. Oh my goodness, David Lee Roth. Oh my goodness. You know, I did not listen to Van Halen for years when David Lee Roth left, and then I realized I was missing out. Right, but he said some of the greatest songs are after that. But he looks. I mean, I have never seen I remember like Frank Sinatra had to use a teleprompter in his last few years in concert because he could remember the words to his songs. This is worse with David Lee Roth.
I guess he needs money to do something, but he's getting out there making money. So I guess, whatever turns him on.
Yeah. All right. Take care. It doesn't matter with that micro penis in his pants. I don't know it doesn't matter what turns him on. I don't think women are interested anymore. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Martin from Puerto Rico.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I had a question. With what's happening in the country lately, do you see the United States heading into a civil war in the near future?
No. Why would that happen? The majority of the country is very united behind Trump.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but you have a very, very vocal group over there that's becoming very violent. They want conservatives dead. They won't. They're
violent and all that. And they're the Democrats you're talking about, but they're a very small cult. They're a small cult of people. There are not that many of them, and most of them are as old as the hills, and they're losing. Are you in Puerto Rico? Are you in Puerto Rico or from Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
You're in
both.
Oh, where in Puerto Rico are you?
Well, Bayamon, that's the county I live in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to be there. We're taking our 10th annual MAGA cruise in March, and one of our ports of call is San Juan. I love San Juan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's got its challenges, but it's...
oh, no, San Juan's awesome. It's my favorite place to go in all of the Caribbean is Puerto Rico. My favorite place. San Juan, Puerto Rico is the only Latin American location that's not the third world, right? You know why that is? Why is Puerto Rico the only part of Latin America that's not the third world? Do you know why that is?
Not because they're a colony. We're a very Americanized.
That's because they're a territory. Because you're a territory. Because it's part of the United States. The rest of Latin America is third world, but not Puerto Rico because it's ours. We took it from the Spaniards in 1898, and we're not giving it back.
I don't want you guys to get back either.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call. Take care. Appreciate the call. We're going to take our first break of this hour, and I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. We're coming, really, Halloween will be here. A week from Friday is Halloween. That means before you know it, it's going to be time to see people that you only see once a year, once every 5 or 10 years, because Thanksgiving, all the holiday season, you got Thanksgiving, you've got Christmas, you've got Hanukkah, you've got New Year's. This is that time of year coming up, the holiday season. And I don't say holiday in a liberal way. We got a lot of holidays, right? After Thanksgiving. After Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. You want to look good. You want to look good. Do what I did. Go to Coastal Weight Loss Secret and start losing weight. When you see people, I tell you, I love it. I see people that I haven't seen in a while, and they tell me what I get. Not only do I get that I look thin, I look younger. I get that more than even the thin part. You look younger, Brian, losing all that weight. Isn't that something? I know. I wasn't counting on that. I was counting on looking better and being thinner and feeling better, but looking younger. So call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation with Dr. Zuckerman over there. I was just talking to him on Friday. He was checking in with me to see how things are going, and they're going great, Dr. Zuckerman. I haven't gained back an ounce. And you want to go into the holiday season seeing people you only see once a year or every 5 or 10 years looking thinner than the last time you saw them, and you can do that. And remember, I did all of this without exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, without starving myself, without any exercise. Did I already say that? And without any prescription medications or shots or anything else. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. We have listeners from around the country that have lost literally, not figuratively, literally a ton of weight. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Give them a call. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear. You guys see this submarine, though? That looks like a real, naval submarine from, the 70s or 80s. Do you think that belongs to someone's Navy? What do you guys think? I don't know. Anybody know about submarines? Here's a little bigger picture of it. You know, that's like the real deal. No. I thought it was going to be like a little tiny thing. Hold on. Oh. Does anyone, any naval people out there, do you guys know about what kind of submarine that might be? I don't think it says in the article. Let's see. No, it doesn't say. No, it doesn't say what kind of submarine it is. But it's a big one. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let me see, where am I? Okay, we'll be back in about a minute. About a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Thirty seconds. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, let's go back to our incredible phone calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Joanne from Tamarack.
Hey, Joanne.
You know, I hear a lot of stuff.
You got to, Joan. You got to turn the volume down in the back to whatever.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. About the military being on the streets of America. But it seems that all these people have a convenient memory loss because during COVID, Tim Walz had, I'm not sure if it was the Guard or if it was the police, but they were actually marching down the streets. They had some kind of a tank.
Yeah, National Guard. It was the National Guard. I remember that now, yeah.
With loudspeakers yelling at people to get back in their house now.
That's right.
Get in your house now.
That's right, I remember that.
I don't remember seeing any protests about the country being taken over.
Well, and you know, you're right. I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me of that. Maybe I'll pull that up. And I also, you know, after 9/11, I remember going to the Fort Lauderdale airport. I flew to Boston not long after 9/11, and it cost like $5 to get a round trip ticket then because people weren't flying. But if you if you remember though, the Army was the regular army was at our airports, and they had guns that I've never seen in person before that were so freaking big and military. The stupid liberal that called me earlier who said, "Do you want freedom or tyranny in the streets?" In the city of Portland, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, and other American cities, the law-abiding citizens are not free. They are living in fear from occupied foreign gang members or just homegrown criminals. And after half a century of this, it's going to take a little extra push to get these criminals out of these cities. And if it takes the National Guard, that's what they're for. This isn't the regular army, and the Guard troops really are just there for a visual. They're not arresting people.
Well, they're there because there is anarchy in the streets.
Correct. These are not.
What Tim Walz did during COVID, that was tyranny. Two different things. They're claiming this is tyranny. It's just the opposite.
Exactly.
And I also remember nobody would get on a plane if there was any kind of Muslim. They would go
that's
crazy
right.
to get them off the plane.
And that's me. Okay, I still hold to that. I wouldn't fly if there was somebody in I would take the next flight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, stupid Cuomo, when Mandani said, "You haven't been at a mosque in 10 years," he should have said, 10 years ago was very close to our Twin Towers being knocked down. Why would I go to a mosque? For what reason?
I've never been to a mosque. Because that's his world, right? That's his world.
And what does that have to do with governing a city?
Exactly.
You got to go visit mosques?
Well,
All right, well.
Appreciate the call, Joan. A very good call from Tamarack. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? She's a great call. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's Ivan from the Bronx. How are you, sir?
Hey, oh, man, I tell you. Well, you got AOC and Zohan Mom Daddy coming.
Yeah, man, it's both
Sucks.
Losers, both losers.
There's a new poll out before you get into what you called about. There's a new poll in the mayor's race. I went over it earlier, and Governor Cuomo has a double-digit lead among American-born New Yorkers, and Mamdani has a double-digit lead among foreign-born New Yorkers. I mean, it's sad what's happened in New York.
Yeah, I saw the poll earlier when you showed it up on the screen. We're all bracing for impact in regards to this guy Mandani. It just seems like several polls are just basically, they're looking like Mandani is going to get in. So we're just bracing for impact.
Well, you saying that there was another clip I couldn't find of him. I know I've got it on my X somewhere because I did a YouTube live stream yesterday and I shared it somewhere yesterday. But anyway, that photograph of him with the unindicted co-conspirator from the 93 Trade Center bombing.
Yeah.
And then there's another video of him I've got to find, and I'll see if I can find it at the bottom of the hour. There's a lot of stuff coming out about his very disgusting connections, and I'm wondering if this is the October surprise, if they're starting to leak things out about him. I don't think it would matter. I keep telling you guys, if there was a picture of him at a bar with the 9/11 hijackers, he'd probably go up in the polls.
I think you're right. I don't think it matters.
How old are you?
55.
Okay, so you're older than me. People have forgotten 9/11, which I never thought would happen. And if you and I would have gone back on September 12th and showed people what was going on in the news today, they would not believe it. That there'd be a Muslim frontrunner going to be the mayor of New York City in 2025. They would have thought we were nuts.
I know, it's shocking. It is shocking. It's heartbreaking too, man.
Were you in the city during the attack or not?
Yeah. I was working two jobs, New York City Transit and
Where were you when it happened in the city? Where were you exactly? Were you at work, home?
I was on the FDR Drive on the way over to Manhattan, and when I saw the police cars flying on the FDR, I just couldn't believe it. When I turned on the radio, that's when I noticed that we were under attack. And then when I got to see the World Trade on fire, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
When I got to the actual Brooklyn Bridge, and I got to jump on it, because people were actually walking on the bridge.
That's right. I remember.
The only lane going was the middle lane. That's when the actual building came down, and then everybody was covered in silt. My car was covered in silt.
Oh, really? Did you see it?
Very, very
Did you see it with your eyes, or just that you were covered in the soot?
No, I heard it. It sounded like I didn't get to see it.
How loud was it?
Hear it.
How loud was it?
Oh my God! It wasn't loud. It was just. It sounded like construction material coming down, and it was very, very sad. People yelling, and the covering of the silt. Just
that reached you on the bridge. That reached you on the bridge.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking about, I haven't asked anybody their 9/11 stories like in a long time, but it needs to be, I haven't heard one single, Zohan asked Mayor, when is the last time you've been to a mosque, Governor? I haven't heard anyone ask him if he condemns 9/11 or even about 9/11. And if you go back to the debate, Cuomo wasn't looking at Mamdani. He was looking at the camera. He mentioned 9/11. And Mamdani's whole body language changed. He lost his smile, and he was panicked that someone would ask him about it. And after 9/11, which was a the younger generation have forgotten it. To them, it's like Pearl Harbor. To me or you, we know about it, and it was bad, but we weren't alive. People forget what that day was like, and I never thought that would happen.
Exactly.
I never thought that would happen.
Yeah. Exactly.
More Americans died that day than at Pearl Harbor, and they were all civilian.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor was at least a military target. Not that justifies it, but it was all civilian, and and they didn't pull anybody out of that building.
Exactly. People forget. And it's a real shame. It's the new generation. This Xbox generation is going up there.
Where the hell are the 9/11 families? Where are the 9/11 families? They used to be on TV all the time griping about everything. Where's the firefighters union? I mean, if I were Cuomo, I would buy local television time and run that Robert De Niro documentary from ABC. Where remember the one where the firefighters were in the building when it came down. It was a documentary film crew. They're in the lobby of one of the towers, and they're talking. What are we going to do? We're doing this. They have the priest with them from the fire department's chaplain, the main chaplain, and then the building falls on them. The lights come on, and they're all dead. And it was Robert De Niro, that jerk Robert De Niro, narrated and hosted this documentary. It was filmed by a French film crew. And Cuomo should put all of his campaign money and run that thing on television, on local TV in New York. Or run it himself, hire out the screens at Times Square and run. People have forgotten. And for anyone that says this is Islamophobic, it is not. Mamdani posted a picture of himself this week on X with an unindicted co-conspirator imam from the first World Trade Center bombing. And the reason they hit it in 2001 is because they failed to bring it down in 93.
Yeah, listen, people forget about that stuff, and it's real sad. That's the only time that we were together, unfortunately, on that horrible day.
Yeah, remember everybody had the American flags hanging on the windows of their cars on those stands, and I remember they had Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, and Robin Williams. They used to do this concert thing for homeless people. They did the Concert for America, and I remember Billy Crystal came out with Whoopi Goldberg and Robin Williams and said there are no Republicans or Democrats. We're all Americans, right? And look at what's going on now. You got a guy that's going to win to be the mayor of New York bragging that he's friends with an unindicted co-conspirator from the first World Trade Center bombing. That's a terrorist. That guy's a terrorist.
And the other guy that was on the other side of that picture. He's one of the city council guys. He was
Yes.
one of the Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Baltimore,
The guy from the Central Park Five. Yeah, the Central Park Five guys on the other
Right.
side. Yeah. Yes. I forgot about that.
Totally.
You know, and that
Trump
guy
hater,
confessed.
Totally Trump hater.
That guy went to jail because he confessed. Let me tell you, no one's going to get me to confess to rape.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that if I didn't do it. That guy
Yeah.
confessed.
Yes. Yes. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, they know it, but they don't realize it.
They
It's
all
a shame.
confessed.
It's a shame.
Well, New York is screwed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we're all bracing for it. We're all bracing for it. You know, some people are actually moving to Westchester County, which is the borderline of the Bronx and Westchester.
Well, there's going to be a financial
And,
collapse because, you know, listen, I got to run. I'm very late for the break, but I appreciate your the
I'm
conversation. You bring up.
No, I appreciate you.
All right. Okay. Take care. Take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. I want to look for this one video. I played it to Patreon supporters yesterday. I can't find it. I played it yesterday to the Patreon supporters. This new video of him is just... I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Okay, I just found it. That's it. Okay. We're really late for the break because I went long with that guy. Okay, got about 90 seconds. It's upsetting. It really is. Stand by, guys. I'm late on the breaks because I wanted to talk to that guy about 9/11. It's important, especially now. It really is. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's Steve Kane Show. Go back to the phones. I'm sorry, I went really late on the last break because I wanted to talk to that guy about 9/11. And I don't do that anymore. You know, we don't talk about shared 9/11 stories, but it's been so forgotten with this election coming up. I thought it was important. I'm going to take a call or two, and I have found a tape that just released yesterday of Mamdani from 2019, 6 years ago, that I'm going to play for you in a few moments. It's going to be a short segment. My apologies for getting behind on the break schedule. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Hey, Richie. Richie, hold on. Let me answer these phones before I go. The phones ring. Yeah, go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, I want to bring something up. We should look at the golden lining with Maduro running for Maduro, whatever it is, in New York. This crazy communist Muslim. Our houses down here are going to double in price in about 2 months.
Yeah.
They're all going to run out of New York. Let me tell you, I just looked this up. Do you know why they're going to vote for him? 1.8 million people in that city of 8 million are on the SNAP program. You know what SNAP is?
Yeah.
And it's illegal people too. I mean, they call them undocumented. So they're being fed and taken care of by the taxpayer of New York, and New York's broke.
Yeah.
Also, 467,000 are receiving a check from the city of New York.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on the tape.
But the city is going to go bankrupt many times over. But Mamdani doesn't care. He doesn't care.
No.
That's not why
he doesn't care. None of and the people are so uneducated. Even this AOC, they offered to open an Amazon plant. Now I know Amazon doesn't pay $1 million a year, folks, but New York City and the Bronx, where she's in charge, the average income of a family of four is $26,000.
Well, that Amazon facility wasn't like the drivers. It was like they were six-figure jobs, like thousands of six-figure jobs. It was not. But I got to tell you, it wasn't like an Amazon driver. It was they were six-figure jobs that she stopped from coming there. What she's doing now is clout chasing. She wants to be on the mom daddy train.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to bring up really quick too, with all these white women, and
the Karens.
I want to break this march that happened Saturday with all these old white women and this guy that called you up earlier and said, would you rather have freedom or crime or whatever he said? Let me say something to you. Anybody that's going to be perfectly honest and be honest with yourself out there. If you're a woman or a man and you go to a gas station, and say you're a woman and you got your little baby in the back seat in a baby seat, and you go and you put gas in your car and you walk in to pay and you come out and your car is gone. I mean, would you rather see a National Guard soldier there, or would you rather see your car drive away with your baby? This is happening all over.
This talking point they have that, it's tyranny against freedom. These are not free people. Richie and I live in different cities in Florida, but we're free. Richie and I can walk out of our front door any day of the week at 2:30 in the morning and not worry. We can leave our cars unlocked in our driveways and not worry. Okay? We can send our wives to the store and not worry.
Yeah, you got people like in Chicago. They send their little girl out to play in the street.
She doesn't come
with
home.
Their friends, and somebody comes along and shoots them.
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean, this is what's going on.
And the governor says, well, it was only 40. And the governor says, it's only 43 this weekend.
Yeah, would you rather have gangbangers or the National Guard? These people are not honest.
By the way, let me ask you, because I meant to ask you about this the other day, and I had forgotten. So the governor of Illinois won $1.5 million one day of blackjack. You're a blackjack guy. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? That sounds like fishy to me. I know he's rich and all that stuff, but in a day, I mean, how much was he laying down to win 1.4 million?
Well, yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, but to be honest with you, I don't care how rich he is. To bet like that, you can get hot and you could be betting a lot of money. In less than 3 days on a cruise ship, I won over $17,000.
Yes.
And that was betting small. These guys are high. This guy is so rich. I mean, for him to put down a $500,000 bet on one hand.
But I was at the blackjack table with you on one of the cruises, and you know your stuff, right? Right, and all that. But what people think is this how they're paying him off, right? Through winning at the blackjack table, or is it real? Did he really win it, or is that how they take care of him?
To tell you the truth, anybody could win it, but I think they're taking care of this guy.
Yeah.
I personally, and not for nothing. Anybody that bets that much money has got a gambling problem. I don't care. And
well, that's right. And if so you would say to win that kind of money in a single day in Vegas, 1.4 million in a regular casino blackjack table. How much do you think he was gambling that day? Like, you think he was putting $500,000 down per hand?
Yeah, $500,000, 250,000, doubling down and stuff like
I
that.
I don't see a Democrat laying down that kind of money of their own. And if they did, and if he did, I don't care how rich he is, his losses have to be just staggering. That's someone who's rich people. I know rich people. Rich people, believe it or not, they may be worth billions of dollars. They don't have it in cash, liquid, right? A lot. They got a lot of overhead. It's tied up in this or that.
Yeah.
If he's betting that kind of money, it's a security risk to have him in charge of something. He's too open.
Exactly right. And Brian, by the way, Governor Pete, don't you think? Listen, they got athletes that they've caught in these casinos, and they say they're out of control. Michael Jordan was a major big bettor.
Yeah.
Okay, and you had Yankee, but you don't think that the press would have been on this guy a long time ago? They would have been saying.
What's the most you've ever bet on? What's the most you've ever bet on a hand?
The most I ever bet on a hand, and I'm going to be honest with you. Let me think real quick. I bet at one time I had $1,000 bet. I was up at that time. I had $1,000 bet, and I got an 11, and I doubled down for a 2,000.
2,000?
And I lost it.
Oh.
Yeah, that was one.
When I remember, I was at the blackjack table with you on one of the cruises, and you had a stack of chips, man. I mean, a stack, and you were betting.
Oh yeah, I made money.
Yeah, and then you just said, "That's it, I'm out of here," and you grabbed everything and you ran. I was like, I couldn't hardly keep up with you. I mean, you just ran away from the table with your chips.
You know why? Because you're gonna. But gambling is it's not. I don't want to get into gambling, but on a blackjack table, you're going to go into runs, and you're going and
you knew it was over.
Vegas is.
You knew it was over. You got out of there.
You get up and you go away a winner, and you take a break, and you have a cup of coffee on the cruise ship that you're going on in Cafe Abaccio.
That's right.
Better than Starbucks.
That's right.
And
so
you sit there with
back to the governor of Illinois, though. I bring this up because I know he's an expert cruise ship gambler, Richie. Okay, he even on one of our cruises he did a whole course to our cruisers, and we got a conference room, and he did a whole class on how to play blackjack and win on casinos, and he had you had a deck of those magician cards that are like 18 inches long cards. It was pretty cool. But the governor of Illinois, his $1.4 million win, is it your opinion that it's more likely how they're taking care of him to get him to do their bidding, like defend the cartels like he's doing? Or do you think he puts half?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And he doesn't have the people at heart. I mean, this guy, for somebody, listen, Obama ignored it. Obama ignored with those little black kids that were getting shot in the street. I remember, and he ignored it. This guy was from Chicago. They don't
Rich,
care
I gotta run. I'm late, but appreciate the call and the info. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. I mean, and this is, I found Friendly Tire 15, 20 years ago. All the tires on all of my cars of my family are from Friendly Tire in Margate. My daughter just drove her car from L.A. back to Florida on Friendly Tire tires, and I bought those for her before she went to California the first time. I mean, the tires are great, but this is the whole message. Okay, and I know you've heard me say this a lot lately because it's what else can I say other than this? Steve's wife was at the dealer getting her tune-up. She needed 4 new tires on her car. They gave her a price. She went to Friendly Tire in Margate. She got 4 brand new tires on Steve's Toyota Highlander. 4 brand new tires for hundreds of dollars less for what the dealer wanted for just 2. That is not an exaggeration. She got 4 new tires out the door and on the road on the Kane family Toyota Highlander for hundreds of dollars less than what the dealer wanted for 2. Give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. We'll be right back. All right. When we get back, I'm going to play this Mamdani tape. And you guys can tell me if you think it's BS, what he's saying here. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. Let's see. Okay, no, I don't have time to play this. I'll have to play this when we get back on the radio. All right. All right, stand by, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Okay, so I found this tape from 2019 that I wanted to share with you. I saw this yesterday of Mamdani. And yesterday, we had a photograph that he recently took and shared on his X with the unindicted co-conspirator imam from the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993. And remember, they tried to bring it down then, but they weren't successful. They blew up the van in the parking garage. And he was also with one of the Central Park Five, who's now on the city council. Can you believe it? But this is so different with what's going on in this campaign. I've been wondering, are these the October surprises? These are not things that he's hiding. He's letting everybody know everything. And this is very unusual. Usually, the October surprise, things you don't know. Oh, didn't know that George W. Bush had a DUI. Right? Those kind of things. Didn't know the laptop. You know, these are things that he's bragging about. So here's Mamdani 6 years ago in 2019 talking to a group. And here it is.
There's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers.
Settler colonialism. See, this is crazy. So New Yorkers... You're not New Yorkers. And this goes for all of America, but since he's running for New York City mayor, New Yorkers are not New Yorkers. Americans, we're not Americans. We're settler colonialist. What the freak is this about? This is,
There's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers, that all of us can settle into the city. And yet there would be these moments where I would be reminded by someone whose intent was to tell me that you do not belong. And one of those first moments was on 9/11, when, before I knew what had happened, my teacher had pulled me and a Muslim classmate of mine out of the class and told us that something has happened and you may be bullied. And I want you to tell me if that happens. And frankly, I was lucky because most Muslim students in the city were not given that kind of care from their teachers. And yet in that moment...
He was going to a $60,000 a year private school, that's why.
I realized that I was not simply another classmate in a middle school. I was distinct. And there was a marker of that distinction on me. And it was something that I would be reminded of again and again. Something when we came back from a trip abroad, being pulled aside at JFK by immigration agents in a double-mirrored room, sitting me down on my own while my family was outside, and asking me if I had just attended a terrorist training camp.
Okay, now do you believe that, by the way, that happened? After 9/11, if I flew right after 9/11, I was stopped. Remember, we used to have to undo our pants and stuff. Remember all that? We don't do our belts and all this weirdness. I mean, how many of you were stopped and questioned after 9/11? Right? A lot of us were. I was, and I know a lot of you were too. And I remember I was changing planes in New York. See, this was right after 9/11. I flew to New York. I was changing planes, and my plane landed late, and I was running through the airport like O.J. Simpson used to do before he killed his wife and Ron Goldman. And I got, at the security, I got pulled aside because I was running. And I told them why, and they went through. They made me. I don't check baggage too much. I do carry on. I had to empty out everything in my bag, and everything else, and I got patted down and everything. And this was in New York City, and they apologized to me, and I said no, thank you, thank you. And they said, yeah, we're just trying to make it safer. I said, absolutely. Now, this was the post 9/11 era. And I told that story on the air after it happened. I was grateful. I don't buy his story, though, that he was, if he was pulled aside in a room like that, we would know about it because he would talk about it a lot. And I'll tell you another thing with Mamdani. He's hanging out with 9/11 or a 1993 World Trade Center terrorist, right? The unindicted co-conspirator from 93. He associates with known terrorists, so he should be pulled aside. If you're associating with an imam who's an unindicted co-conspirator for the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993, should you be on the no-fly list? Shouldn't you be pulled aside and questioned? I think so. All right, let me rewind it. I'll play the whole thing without interrupting this time.
There's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers, that all of us can settle into the city. And yet there would be these moments where I would be reminded by someone whose intent was to tell me that you do not belong. And one of those first moments was on 9/11, when, before I knew what had happened, my teacher had pulled me and a Muslim classmate of mine out of the class and told us that something has happened and you may be bullied. And I want you to tell me if that happens. And frankly, I was lucky because most Muslim students in the city were not given that kind of care from their teachers. And yet in that moment, I realized that I was not simply another classmate in a middle school. I was distinct. And there was a marker of that distinction on me. And it was something that I would be reminded of again and again. Something when we came back from a trip abroad, being pulled aside at JFK by immigration agents in a double mirrored room, sitting me down on my own while my family was outside, and asking me if I had just attended a terrorist training camp, and if I had intentions of attacking this country, and if so, what were those plans? And it's something that has continued in the time since, where a few months ago, I went with a client of mine to a bankruptcy court, and as we're going into the court, the security guard takes me aside and pats me down with additional care and asks me multiple times if I have any weapons of mass destruction on me. And in these moments, the sense of not knowing where home is, they're amplified by what I would see around me.
Okay, so now first of all, he's hanging out with this terrorist from 93, so they should be questioning him. But this other thing he said happened recently with a client. What kind of client? Well, if it happened recently, why don't you call this guy out, Mr. Wannabe Mayor? I'm calling BS on all of that. And this whole idea in the beginning that New Yorkers are not New Yorkers. Here's how he describes New Yorkers.
There's still, this illusion, and it's partially a result of settler colonialism, that all of us can become New Yorkers.
You're not New Yorkers. You're settler colonialist. Oh my gosh, we're screwed. At least New York is. I want to talk about the Sloman Shield link. This is amazing. Okay, you have your whole house hooked up to your Sloman's Shield. And listen to this. The Sloman Shield link takes your everyday routines and actions based on your preferences and connects all your devices to react how you want them to react. You come home, your lights come on, your TV comes on, your music comes on, your computer comes on, your AC is where you want it to be with just a push of one button. The Sloman Shield link can act on almost any scenario and create scenes based on what you want to occur, whether you want your thermostat to turn down when you turn your alarm on so you're not running the air all day while you're at work, or automatically lock your doors and make sure your security lighting's on. This can all happen, boom, just like that. And by the way, the Sloman Shield link works on the devices you already have in your home. Sloman's includes installation for all your devices, plus they offer 24/7 support. So if you got a troubleshooter problem or you want to add some programming 24/7, you can call them anytime. Give them a call right now. Ask them, check this out. Get it hooked up in your house. It'll change your life. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right. 1 hour to go. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. We got a lot to cover, a lot of things to get into, and we'll get into some more issues and your calls after the top of the hour break. Oh, man, and Steve's been a little bit under the weather lately, and he has some family visiting, too. That's why he's been off for a few days, but he'll be back soon, and maybe today. I'll find out in a minute. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Brian. Hey, sorry, I've been tied up. Are you free? Can you coming out or? That's fine. Okay, hold on. It'll be a couple minutes. Hold on. Less than a minute, we'll be back. All right, we are back. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot as the countdown to our next cruise begins. Ian, good morning.
Hey, Brian, good morning.
Oh, man, you were telling me yesterday that today you're having your big meeting to finalize our shore excursions on our March cruise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, these shore excursions are going to be amazing. They're not off the shelf. They're custom designed, you know, working with all the vendors. And you won't be able to get anything like this direct, that's for sure. And it's all done through the cruise line.
Yeah. And you know, the shore excursions that Ian's working out for us, these are going to be lifetime memories. These are some pretty big ones. I can't wait to tell you guys. And what Ian mentioned is we do all the shore excursions through the cruise line, which means the ship waits for us, no matter how late we are getting back to port.
Yeah, not that that's never happened before or anything.
Just on every cruise. We usually we get back from our shore excursions, everyone's on board but us, and we have the officers out on the dock waiting for us. Like that, because the ship can't leave without you. And what you're actually doing, Ian, is not just finalizing what we're doing, you're negotiating a good price on all the excursions too. That's like the big part.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's got to be affordable, and it's got to be a unique experience, custom crafted. I mean, remember the Blue Lagoon and the Chechaban ruins, our first one? That's where it all started.
Exactly. And our shore excursions are private, just to our MAGA group. Now, this is our 10th annual MAGA cruise in March, and we're going on the Celebrity Beyond. We got some great destinations, great destinations, but we don't talk so much about what we do on board. So, can you tell people a little bit about the food, the quality of food, and the type of food that you get?
Well, sure. Well, I mean, to start with, once you get on board, you and I usually meet at the Martini Bar. That's kind of our tradition.
Heck yeah.
And we make sure, I know. And we get nice and loosened up and, meet and make sure that everything is in place because it's so meticulously put together to make sure that our guests have a wonderful time. And really the party starts as soon as you set foot on board. But the food is, I mean, 5-star celebrity budget, so much extra than any of the other brands, with a focus on that personal satisfaction. It really is superior.
And the food is world class on board Celebrity Cruise Lines. It's a luxury cruise line, and the food is top world class stuff that you would find like in Gordon Ramsay's kitchens. I mean, it's high level stuff. And it's all included, right? And now we're not talking about the specialty restaurants. We're talking about the main dining.
Oh, yeah. You remember the last ship tour, and I said, let's go to the buffet for lunch this time instead of the restaurant. You looked at me sideways. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Let me show you how it goes down to the base level. And even in the buffet, I mean, the stuff is excellent.
Oh, yeah. It's very upper level. And we spent, and then, of course, they have a pizza bar that usually around midnight, you'll find us in our group back at the pizza bar having pizzas made for us that also are included and cost nothing. So, and we've got this great MAGA group, a MAGA family that's been growing and growing each year for a decade. And I know a lot of people that are coming on this one, this is our largest group ever, have not been on any of our cruises before. And once you go on one, you're part of the family forever. I mean, it's just we have a great group of people.
Yeah, they're a wonderful group of people. I look forward to seeing all the out-of-towners. We see some of the locals, which is awesome, meet up at bars, have drinks, all of that. But, this is their once-a-year opportunity. They come in from all over the country to sit and speak and drink and eat and have just a wonderful time together and create memories.
That's right. And I'll tell you, this is an important point, and this is why I have Ian here today, okay? We have 2019 pricing, and that is not an exaggeration. Ian has a great relationship with Celebrity. We've been with them for 10 years, and you are going on a 2026 cruise with 2019 pricing. And when you call Ian, he'll give you the price. But, Ian, next we're almost to November and Black Friday specials and stuff. The pricing we have now is better than they're going to get during the Black Friday specials.
Oh, yeah. If you try to book if I try to book someone in a rack rate for a Black Friday deal, it's not going to come close to the group pricing because the group pricing was negotiated over 18 months ago.
Yeah, and when that special Black Friday stuff goes, we're going to lose our group pricing at that point. So the clock is ticking on our group pricing. It's going to be over quite soon. So call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. If you get his voicemail, leave your name and number. He will call you back. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. All right, Ian, we'll talk soon.
Take care, Brian.
All right, take care. Yeah, you guys will have a great time. Come on the cruise, guys. Come on the cruise. You're going to have a great time. Getting into a couple other things, though. I wanted to, before I get into some new things, earlier in the show, we had one of the most fantastical calls I've gotten in a long, long time. And it really blew my mind. The drug addict that called in the 6 o'clock hour. The president of Colombia, I believe, has committed an act of war. He has threatened the president of the United States in a television interview in Spanish. I've not played the audio. Well, one, it's in Spanish, and two, he's threatening the president of the United States. And we just had this assassination attempt stopped by the Secret Service in Palm Beach over the weekend, and here he is threatening the president of the United States. We were talking about the war on drugs. President Trump has gotten us into two wars that are the most just wars that have occurred in anyone's lifetime that's alive today, the war on drugs and the war on crime in American cities. And what got me thinking about this was not just what the Colombian president's threat to the president of the United States was, but they released the video, the Pentagon released, or the War Department released the video of the strike taking out the drug cartel submarine last week, and they took out another drug boat. And this is why the Colombian president is threatening the president of the United States. And I was talking about how because President Trump closed down the border and now he's taking the war on drugs to the oceans and everything else, that illegal drug prices have had to go through the roof. You know, marijuana is pretty much legal in some form almost everywhere, and you can buy it. It's easier to buy than cigarettes, really, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. But the two main illegal drugs, there are others, but the two main drugs are powdered cocaine and fentanyl. And I was talking that illegal drug prices have had to go through the roof because President Trump has cut off the importation of them to such an extent, supply and demand. I get a call from a guy in the 6 o'clock hour. He's struggling, but he's a cocaine addict. He's a cocaine addict, and he's struggling with it. He's about my age, a little younger than me. And he was telling us that cocaine prices in the last few months have increased 400%. That's the kind of inflation you work for. Powder cocaine, and he's a hardcore addict, and he's not doing as much cocaine as he was because of it. He's been struggling with drugs off and on throughout his life, and President Trump's getting him off drugs because the prices are going up. 400% increase in powder cocaine. That's what he told us. You know, that's amazing. That's what you want. And he said he thinks he's a Republican now. He's out of his drug haze. He's still doing it. He's trying to give it up. But that's an amazing story. And I was glad he called. And what inspired him to call was this morning I was when I saw that the Colombian president threatened President Trump. You know, I started thinking, well, President Trump's making it hard on the cartels. The illegal drug prices must really have gone up. And I couldn't find any data or even a news story even talking about this. So I talked about it on the air at the beginning of the show, and I said, we're probably not going to find anything out on the air because who's going to call in about that? Very few people are going to admit they do illegal drugs, and if they do, it'll be just some junkie who'll lie. And this guy, you could tell, those of you who heard the call, he's struggling to get off drugs. And he seems very grateful that the president has driven the prices of cocaine up so much that it's forcing him to come clean. He doesn't have enough money to buy what he used to buy. He's getting about 25% of the amount of cocaine he used to get. So he's doing rehab. He's doing Trump rehab. Trump's cocaine, inflation, drug rehab. And he's doing it in a way that on his own very well may be successful. The price is going to continue to go up. And he's weaning himself off of it. I mean, this is a great thing. what Trump is doing with the war on drugs. It's one of those things, you know, you hear on CNN something, they talk about 80-20 issues. I don't buy that. These are 99.999 issues to 1, not 80-20 issues. And the media aren't, we did more reporting on the drugs on this program, prices and the war on drugs than anyone has done in the media just this morning through that one phone call. And the media aren't interested in doing this because the media, since they're part of the entertainment world of television, a lot of them are coked up and they don't want people to know, you know, and they don't want to give Trump credit for doing something good. And they don't want to talk about the drug prices because people may say, well, how do you know what cocaine cost? But they could go out on the streets and find out, but they're not interested in it. It makes Trump look good. But President Trump is running a nationwide drug rehab right now. He's pricing people out of being able to do illegal drugs. And I think that's something that he deserves a lot of credit for and thanks for. Because, you know, these addicts in our streets and in our cities, it affects all of us. A lot of the crime is drug related, right? So much of it. All right, we're going to take our first break of this hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Wait, stay by. All right, welcome back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, good. How'd your Wellington workshops turn out?
It went very well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great being out there, and we have a Medicaid one coming up over there soon. I don't have the date on me right now, but we do have... let's call it a continuation of our Peace of Mind tour.
Yeah.
Tomorrow afternoon in Boca Raton. It's going to be what we call our Medicaid planning seminar, but really it's a workshop about how to protect your assets so you don't run out of money during your lifetime and run out of money before you run out of life. And that's what it's really all about. And the biggest block to people doing this is that first of all, when we use the word Medicaid, people, oh, that's not for me. That's not something I can get. And really, that is a huge mistake that people can make. It could be the difference between protecting everything that they've ever worked for and losing most of it or all of it. And so we've tried to mix up the times and the dates that we do these workshops to give people the opportunity to attend. And for the Medicaid, a lot of times it turns out to be the adult children of the people who need the care that are the ones that get involved in this. So we made the one tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Spanish River Library in Boca Raton. So we made it a little later for those of you who work. It's not smack in the middle of the day like a lot of them that we do. So please, if this is something, if you have a loved one or someone you just want to learn more about it for the future, please call our office, register, come join us, and learn about how to protect your assets from the biggest threat we have as we age, the cost of long-term care.
And the Spanish River Library, which it's got to be one of the most beautiful libraries in the state of Florida. I don't know, whoever designed and built it did a good job. But I know it's been a number of years, but a lot of people don't know that there's an I-95 exit at Spanish River now. It's been there for a few years, but I don't think a lot of people know it. And it's so easy and convenient. You're right off of I-95.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to, 95 has a exit there. It's right off of Military and Spanish River.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a beautiful place. I know a lot of people do weddings out there right by the lake. There's a great walking trail back there.
Yeah.
And also the Siegel Law Group has planted a lot of trees there in honor of many of our departed clients to honor them and also help the environment. So it's just a beautiful place.
Yeah, and you guys, if you look, it is nice and it is. So if you're coming from far away, you take that Spanish River exit on 95. You're right there, and it's the most convenient I-95 exit in the state of Florida too. I'm telling you, I use that road a lot, so I'm grateful for it, and you'll get a lot of great information. Because you won't just get to hear Attorney Barry Siegel and get to meet him, you also get to meet his staff. And I tell you, Barry, I think, when people are putting together the revocable living trust or doing their Medicaid planning, they're putting their family in your hands. And I think when they see your presentation, meet you and your staff, they're like, wow, these people really know their stuff, because there's no way you're going to walk away there not being blown away and impressed by the information you get. Give the Siegel Law Group a call. They'll give you directions and all the information on the workshops, or schedule your no-charge in-office consultation. 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
All right. Take care. If you're on hold, hang in there. I wanted to share this. President Trump saved us from a lot with his reelection. I mean, a lot. If Kamala Harris would have won, or Joe Biden would have been reelected, this country would be would be a East German-like place. This story with FEMA. Remember the story after the Hurricane Milton, where the FEMA people wouldn't help those in need after the hurricane if they had MAGA flags and things at their house? Listen to this. Gateway Pundit reporting. Journalist exposes more proof that FEMA workers collected information about politics of disaster victims. Following the disaster, this is in the Gateway Pundit. You can read this whole article yourself. Following the disaster of Hurricane Milton, there were multiple reports throughout the affected areas in the South that FEMA workers were politicizing the response by skipping over homes that displayed Trump signs. Following these reports, there were denials from some FEMA people, while some pointed fingers at others, claiming they were told this was official policy. Now, journalist Matt Taibbi, he's the guy that did the Twitter files, remember that? Has exposed more proof that this was happening. Last November 8th, on the Saturday after Election Day, one of the more bizarre postscripts to Donald Trump's reelection emerged in the form of a FEMA decision to sideline one official accused of telling FEMA workers, quote, to avoid homes advertising Trump while canvassing for victims of Hurricane Milton in Florida. The Daily Wire spoke to multiple FEMA officials who produced screenshots of entries like Trump sign, no contact, per leadership. And it goes on. They want it, after a hurricane, people can die after a hurricane. Hurricane season, sometimes it doesn't just flood and do all this stuff, knocks out electricity. And in Florida, air conditioning is life. It is life. If you don't have air conditioning, you can die of heat exhaustion, especially older people, disabled people, and we have the oldest population in Florida. But regardless of that, when people need FEMA help, Floridians are very hurricane prepared. Okay, we are very hurricane prepared in Florida. So when people are in need of help from FEMA, that's how bad the hurricane is. It is the worst of the worst hurricane when people are that affected and need help with FEMA. And we heard this in another state. It was North Carolina too, right? They felt this goes back to the VA problems. I talked about. Remember when people were being not treated and dying at the VA? This is a similar thing. The bureaucracy, whether the prior bureaucracy, at FEMA, at the VA, are Democrat. And in large part, African American liberals who are hate white people, hate conservatives. And we know it is a fact that there were FEMA people saying, don't give assistance to people that are Trump supporters, and they know by the flags or the signs or the bumper stickers on their car. And that's how this whole country was going to be. You're MAGA, no help for you. And I often suspected when these people were dying because they were put to the bottom of the appointment list at the VA, it was a similar thing. And what got me thinking that is during the VA deaths, family members were doing interviews that lost a family member who got put to the bottom of the appointment line. Every person that was reported in the news who was a veteran that died because they were put to the bottom of the stack of appointments were white. And I found that quite odd. And I talked about this at the time. And I said, well, people that work at the VA typically are Democrat, and people that work for the government are liberal. And there's a lot of African Americans who work in the bureaucracy. I wonder if these are racial hate crimes. And I still stand by that. It's been many years. I don't know if it could be properly investigated now, but there's a similar effect going on here with FEMA. I believe the FEMA is both political and racial in nature, targeting people. You got a bunch of Joy Reids working in these government offices, and they feel totally justified in doing the things that they do. And, in this second Trump term, we're so busy with everything that's going on because President Trump's doing so much and we're following the news cycle. But stories like this, if Trump would not have been reelected, MAGA people would have died from not getting FEMA aid in the future and in future storms. This was policy then, and it was going to become a long-standing permanent policy in the future because they want MAGA people dead. And they feel totally justified in denying them life-saving treatment. And after a hurricane, FEMA can bring life-saving treatment to people. I'm here to tell you. Gasoline gets scarce. It gets really rough. When you don't have electricity for a few days, you don't know, it's rough. It gets really rough. And a week or 2 weeks, things really start to fall apart. We've had hurricanes where I sent my family out of state and I stayed behind. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back. Hey, guys, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go to the calls after the break. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. We'll go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. It's Bob from Port Charlotte. How are you?
All right, Bob. What's up?
I want to talk about this Mondani nonsense.
Yeah.
So I'm from up north. I lived in New Jersey. I worked in Manhattan. I worked in the Trade Center on 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of my friends that are still up there who will never vote for President Trump because they're brainwashed.
Yeah.
And when I talk to them and I say to them, how can you justify not even giving President Trump a chance when he's from the area and did a lot for us on that day and the days after, but you'll vote for this guy who clearly is not for the best of the city?
Yeah, and what do they say?
I'm getting a sense from a lot of the people that I know, and again, these are World Trade Center folks that were there. They may not show up at the polls because they can't swallow hard enough to show up and flip a lever for this guy. Like his stance of it not, and I think your point was well taken before, when he was on that stage, he had to be pushed to the point where almost being attacked about 9/11.
Yeah.
And you run the risk of being the bad guy where, hey, he'll say the line you're going to get is, well, not all Muslims are responsible for 9/11. You're saying I am.
Well, yeah, but he's hanging out. He's hanging out with that imam who's one of the unindicted co-conspirator from the 93 bombing. That's a terrorist. So not every Muslim hangs out with people who bombed the World Trade Center. He does, and then brags about it.
Well,
so that's
absolutely true. The other point is that on September 10th, there were very few people that thought that planes would be flown into a building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nobody thought it was going to happen until it happens. So for somebody to turn around and say, well, I want to be extra cautious this time, so I need to question you about this, is a fair point. And I just think that the political class in this country has basically given New York City.
Well, what's happened is, and this is what, hold on a second here. I lost my lines. Okay. Are you back with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what surprised me. Okay. About this whole thing. The Democrat Party machine has been running New York City since Tammany Hall. Okay. And there's a lot of money. That's why all the ventilators were going out the back doors of the hospitals when Trump sent them there doing it. And I'm surprised that the Democrat political machine is allowing him to win, because these guys are going to lose control of the machine. So I don't know what's going on. And I know a lot. That I think it was Rasmussen today. So one of the big publications said everybody should get behind Curtis Sliwa. Governor Cuomo's a mass murderer. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that about Cuomo, but Curtis Sliwa has no hope of winning. Governor Cuomo did, but he blew it. if you know, he blew it in the debate the other night. He didn't go after Mamdani because he doesn't want to be labeled an Islamophobe.
Well, and again, that's to the point of that Sliwa and Adams and Cuomo all needed to come together and say, for the good of the city,
yep,
we need to do this, because the alternative is this guy. Oh, and by the way, if he gets in control of the city, what kind of juice you think that's going to give to AOC, who clearly doesn't have any thought of staying pat in the Congress? She will be searching, trying to find a higher office. And
her plan is to replace Schumer. She wants to be your senator.
They rally around horse station until she opens her mouth.
She wants to replace Schumer in the Senate and then run for president when she grows up. That's her plan.
And having a guy like Mamdani as the mayor of New York validates the movements, helps validate the movements of all of those squad nut jobs.
Now, you know, let me ask you, as a New Yorker, you know, this picture of him with the picture of Mamdani with the 93 unindicted co-conspirator, and the other guy in the picture with him is the guy from the Central Park Five that's on the city council now. Anybody else, their career would be over with that.
Absolutely.
But I would say if he was with Muhammad Atta, he would still win. That these people wouldn't care.
Well, again, let's make it very simple. I mean, you remember the motto right after 9/11, you know, never forget, we'll never forget. And for 5-6 years, it was on the front page of every newspaper on the anniversary. Yep. And then about year 7, it started falling off the front pages of the major cities. And then the suburbs, it started falling off. And now it's kind of an afterthought, because we don't have the long-term and the bandwidth. We're so inundated with nonsense that it's like, oh, they don't even teach it in history anymore.
Well, people, you'll remember, because you're old enough and you were there, but Governor Cuomo's father, Mario Cuomo, who's been forgotten, he was a big guy. He almost got the nomination for the Democrats. He was the big attack dog against President Reagan in the 80s. And after 9/11, Mario Cuomo and President Clinton both came out in public and said, what did we do to cause them to fly into these buildings? Remember that? And there was a lot of backlash. So they stopped talking that way and reversed their stance. So this sympathy towards the Muslims in New York City was there like on September 12th. Okay, so so they just hid it because it wasn't popular. But this is tragic, because he's not a normal guy. And you're right, Curtis Sliwa, Adams, and Governor Cuomo should have gotten together, but they're narcissistic lunatics, all of them.
Well, the machine needs to be fed, and the best thing that they have to feed the machine in New York is putting Mamdani, getting him this spot. But like I led with, I talk to people up there every day. I've been fighting with them since we moved to Florida, and they think I've gone absolutely crazy. And I'm asking them, how can you vote for this guy knowing what he wants to do to that city? And I'm getting a sense.
Listen, I've got, Florida. We have more New Yorkers than New York. In Florida, we have more Jews than they have in Israel. Okay, so you get to talk to people that's as relevant to. And I have friends that are Jews, and their families in New York are Jews, obviously, and they're voting for Mamdani, and they're Jews. And I said, don't they remember the Holocaust? I mean, this is how the Holocaust happened.
Right. Well, again, and you'll appreciate this, the media, what we see down here of the media of the Northeast. So you get your CNNs and your MSNBCs and all that trash. But it's not just that trash. All of the local stations, there's no local stations up there that have to try to push the truth through. They all step in line, lockstep, and it's just they deliver the message. So on the occasions where I've had to go back up north, and I've got my never surrender hat or fight, or my 2020 hat, make America. They look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, guys, you don't understand. As you come out of and you enter free America where I live, you're not getting the story. And they don't care because it's easier to accept that you're being lied to than to do the work.
Chelsea Clinton, she came out of the closet as an adult after 9/11. She wrote an article, I want to say it was for Vanity Fair. And Chelsea Clinton was in New York City on 9/11, and she wrote an article about it. And I read the article, and it was like the first time we got to hear Chelsea Clinton's opinions, right? And it was in this, I'm pretty sure it was Vanity Fair. If it wasn't, it was in another publication. You guys can find it. And I remember she said she saw the people running by her that were covered in all the ash after the collapse of the building. And she said, I was thinking about how the Bush tax cuts were affecting these people, she said. She's talking about, I couldn't believe she was talking about 9/11, and she's worried about the Bush tax cuts on the people who ran from the building. So liberals have always been demented when it came to, Rush Limbaugh said a lot. He said this, and it was, he was so right. He said to Republicans, to conservatives, 9/11 is an event that we're still living through. And to Democrats, it was an event that happened on September 11th, and then it was over. And and we're seeing, you and I and the other guy from the bridge and all that stuff, and we're still experiencing 9/11 all these years later. The liberals, they were done on September 12th.
Well, I don't think that anyone would honestly believe that Chelsea Clinton on that day thought about anything else but herself.
Yeah, and
she wasn't looking at people running and going, "Oh, the plight of these poor people."
Exactly.
She didn't give a. First of all, I don't even think she wasn't even down there. I mean, watching.
It was all BS. She was calling mommy and daddy, trying to get the Secret Service to come rescue her, and the cell phones weren't working.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I don't blame her for that because listen, I am a plow horse. I am not a racehorse. I moved extremely quickly on that day.
Yeah.
Okay? I was back at work at Varick Street at the mouth of the Holland Tunnel before the second building fell down because
oh my gosh. That's some work ethic.
You work.
And I want to tell you guys, the reason I've been talking to people about their 9/11, so I don't usually do this because everyone's got a 9/11 story. And, it's like that old thing grandparents, ask me about my grandchildren. Nobody cares about your grandchildren but you. But we're talking about this today because 9/11 has been forgotten by people, and this is not Islamophobic. Zohan just posted a picture of himself on Twitter over the weekend with an unindicted co-conspirator from the 93 World Trade Center bombing, which was Al Qaeda that did that. They came back in 2001 because they didn't have big enough bombs in the garage to bring down the towers, so they found a way to do it. So, I mean, this is important. Listen, I got to run, but great call. And, boy, let's pray for New York. Take care. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Been a crazy good show. Going back to the before the radio, you had Richie on talking about pickles and pompano.
Yes.
We got Sweet Caroline, our press secretary, saying the ultimate dig.
Oh, my goodness.
Mom did.
That was hilarious.
And we have an actual war on drugs, not a marketing campaign.
That's right.
Yesterday you had mentioned.
You should be my PR guy promoting this program. You're very good at the press releases. Summarizing what was on the show today.
Well, Richie, Pickle. I mean, I used to go to Pickles. I love that place.
Where was that place? That might have been before my time.
It was right down by Copans. It was right on Federal Highway. Right down
Copans
by
and Federal? I never
Federal.
went there.
At the opposite end, at Sample and Federal, that's where the dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. They said Fort Lauderdale in the song.
What's the dollhouse? What's the dollhouse?
That was a strip club that was located right at Sample
never heard of it.
and Federal.
Never heard of it.
Well, it's in the song Motley Crue.
It's still there.
It's
still there.
Yeah.
It's still there. I'm kidding. Of course, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
No, yeah, it's not. It's definitely not there. Anyway, all that being said,
yes, the one that was in the it was that was that one. It was in that round building that used to be that used to be the SS Odyssey, and then they turned it in where the strip club was. Yeah, I know where that was. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all gone now. But anyway, that was back in the day. But Pickles was a blast. But yesterday or even today, we you talked a little bit about Colombia, the cartels, and the sub, and you had mentioned that one of the possibilities for this sniper's nest that it could have been a cartel type situation. But guess what? I think the two most important things with regard to this sniper's nest are, what do you know the building that is in the lot where the clump of trees is? Do you know
we gotta hurry because I only got about 15 seconds. It's the Palm Beach County Sheriff's got a jail there, right, or something?
Well, it's the Forensic Sciences and Technology building, but right next to it, Brian, is the U.S. Reserve. It's the James B. Callahan Armed Reserve Center for soldiers.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of trans people being upset, and I think getting fired from the military or the reserves. If you go to the back of the parking lot, Brian, you follow the back of the parking lot.
Wait a minute. Okay, this is amazing. Okay, Bongino didn't mention this when he was bragging about sending the thing to the lab yesterday. You're telling me that you got a great working theory here, that the reserve center is right there, and you think it was a trans soldier that might have done it?
Well, I mean, it's not too hard to connect those dots. We've got a lot of trans people that have been shooting up the country, right?
Write this down, right? JJ from Mass. If we get a suspect, you might get a gold star.
Bongino fires. I mean, not Bongino, but Hegseth is out there getting rid of all these.
Wouldn't that be something?
Trans people.
Oh my goodness.
The mood swings are going crazy, and guess what? They all know how to. They all know how to shoot a rifle.
That's interesting. That is a great theory. We'll find out. All right, got to run. Take care. Righty. Let me talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. The thing about annuities just amaze me, and I don't know why everyone is not in them. Okay, we were talking about the blackjack gambling. To me, the stock market's like being at the blackjack table. Right? And the winners only tell you about the wins. They don't tell you about your losses. With an annuity, your money's never at risk. No matter what happens in the market, you're not going to lose any money. So you're not gambling with your money. And as you get older in retirement, you're not in the workforce anymore. Nobody ever wants to lose money. But when you're younger, I got 20 years of work life left. I can make it up. When you're retired, you don't want to be gambling with your retirement. And with an annuity, no matter what happens in the market, your money is safe. Plus, you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. Joe Thomas is offering free consultations, which you can do in person if you'd like, or on the phone or through Zoom. And remember, Joe Thomas has over 30 years of experience working in the retirement planning industry. And listen to this. He's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors on the planet Earth. So he's a top man in the industry. He's offering you a free phone consultation or in-office consultation or a Zoom consultation. And after that consultation, he'll put together a custom proposal for you based on your situation. All right, give him a call, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, it's on his website, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. Okay, stand by. Okay, 20 seconds. All right, here we go. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Steve Kane Show. Time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metals are incredibly lower after yesterday's big rise. We got a lot of pullback right now going on with a lot of profit taking and opportunity for those on the sidelines to take advantage of a nice dip. We don't see these happen very often, but when we do, they don't last very long usually. Gold yesterday traded up to $4,375 at one point, closed out the day at $4,355.10, which was $104.30 up. Silver was up 46 cents, closing out the day at $52.32 the ounce. Platinum gained $20 at $1,630, and palladium was up $35 at $1,484. As I said, the markets have been taking advantage of a huge run so far this morning down and giving us an opportunity to take advantage of a buying opportunity. The gold got down to about $4,208 so far this morning, with as high last night as $4,376. So we're getting into some wild trading ranges now with these new record highs. Right now, gold at $4,218.30. That's down $136.80 right now. So its swings are very dramatic, and of course leave a lot of room for people to get nervous. And that's the way bull markets are. They make you nervous, and nobody knows where it's going. But the pullbacks can be very quick and steep. And then if you blink, you can miss them. Mm-hmm. Right now, silver $49.62. That's down $2.70. Platinum $1,566 the ounce. That's down $64. And palladium down $80 at $1,404. So right now, gold actually $4,220 on gold. It seems to be trying to come back already. It's about $135.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around the idea that at over $4,200, gold's down today. That doesn't even compute to me. You know, I don't get nervous with these things because this isn't some crypto thing. This is gold that's been money for like 5,000 years. So, and it'll be money in 5,000 more years. So I don't worry about that. But it sounds to me like the gold's on sale today. So when you hear a buying opportunity, you want to take advantage of that. William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. His number is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address in Boca is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And when you go into the Bank of America building, William Youngerman's shop is directly across the lobby from the bank. And you can find both his phone number and address online at williamyoungerman.com, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, everything's going well. All right, to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee.
How you doing, Lion Brian? So listen, I just wanted to give a shout out to your audience that 7 million people came out on that march to declare no king.
7 million? 7 million?
7 million.
7 million. That's such a small minority in this country. 7 million. What does that mean? 7 million? There's over 300 million in the country, in our MAGA nation.
Is no good for New York. And Yusef Salam, one of the Central Park Five, I know you guys hate that. He was there to declare that our mayor is going to declare that your intifada is over.
Okay, well, let me ask you one question about Mamdani. This is a serious question. What's the number one policies? What is his number one policy that you want him to implement when he becomes mayor? Number one policy.
Why can't you take a DNA test in Israel?
Oh, so no policies? He just hates Jews, so you're voting for him because he hates Jews? Is that it?
I'm wondering, why is it illegal to take a DNA test in Israel?
I don't know what that has to do with New York. I don't know that's not what I'm talking about. I don't even know if that's true. So you can't think of any policies?
That's true.
What is Zohan's number one policy that you want to see him implement day one?
I don't know who you're talking about. His name is Zoran.
Okay, Zorro. What do you want him to do on day one?
No, you don't know his name. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you mean you can't think of a policy? That's pathetic.
I know who I'm talking about.
Well,
I'm not making up.
Well, then tell me his policies. Tell me his policies. The one you want him to do first. Like President Trump, I wanted him to shut down the border.
New York.
Huh?
He's going to keep rednecks like you out of New York.
Rednecks out of New York? It's going to be illegal for white people to come to New York? That's a policy?
Just racist rednecks like you.
So you can't think you don't know his policies?
Yeah, I do know his
What are his policies?
He's going to make New York a better place.
How?
He's going to be freezing the roof.
How's he going to do that? How's he going to make it better? What will he do to make it better?
He's going to freeze the rent. He's going to make the mass transit a lot more
He's going to freeze
available.
the rent. But then he's going to raise the taxes on the property owners. How are they going to pay their mortgages and taxes on the property if they can't raise the rent when he raises their taxes?
Well, I think he's going to be hiking the taxes on a lot of.
No, but if you own a rental apartment building in New York City, you're rich. So he's going to freeze your rent but raise your taxes. How are you going to pay the higher taxes if you can't raise the rent to pay for your taxes?
Man, that doesn't even make sense.
Well, it does, but what it means is you don't have an answer. That sounds crazy, and that sounds like property seizure. You know, in Florida, you know how we determine rent prices in Florida?
What?
With the market demands. You rent for as much as you can get. Whatever people are willing to pay is what you charge for rent. You don't have some commie come from Africa and freeze your rent and raise your taxes.
Commie from Africa.
That's where he's from.
So cool.
He's from Africa.
How do you know?
He says it. He's from Uganda. Isn't that in Africa?
You can spell Uganda?
With a U, yeah. Like you sound like an idiot. Oh, my goodness. There you got it. That's a Zorro supporter. Let me talk about Life Imaging FLA. By the way, they have 3 locations, one in Palm Beach, one in Broward, one in Dade. What they do, they save lives every day. You know, I was reading the other day a review of one of their patients. They went in there and found out they had over 80% blockage in their arteries. They had no idea. Life Imaging FLA saved their life. Me, I got great news and peace of mind. I have no plaque buildup. I have no blockage. I have the heart of a 25-year-old, and it's changed my life. I mean, I've been very energetic since then, I got to tell you, because it was a weight off my shoulders. But they're saving lives every day, finding cancers and finding blockages that people didn't even know that they had. In fact, Life Imaging FLA can easily detect heart disease and even some cancers before you show any symptoms. And somebody was asking me yesterday about the scanner. You don't have to take your clothes off. I wore my shirt and jeans. I didn't even have to take my watch off. It's completely open, okay? And it takes just a few minutes. I thought I was going to have to get naked and get in a hospital gown. No, none of that. There's no dyes. There's no nothing. I just laid down. It's open, and boom. And it was done in just a few minutes. So call Life Imaging FLA for your free heart scan right now with just a few minimum requirements. And it's valued at $699. Pick up your cell phone and dial pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. Pound 250 and say free heart scan. All right? Okay, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay.
You're coming in. Go ahead.
That was a really rough call with Renee Lyon.
Yeah, I know. He's got to feel really stupid.
Never learn, man.
He's got to feel really stupid right now.
Am I coming in?
No, you're not. Actually, you're not coming in too well. Try tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James from Boca. How you doing, Brian?
All right, James. What's up?
Well, I think everybody forgets like about 4 years ago when people were living rent-free under the COVID-19 rules. No one, everybody had to get a shot if they wanted to go anywhere or do anything, fly out of the country. They're talking about King's Day with Trump.
Yeah.
It was communist country under Biden.
That's true.
We were locked down.
Yes.
We were all disheveled.
Mm.
I was so mad. I was mad at you for no reason. You were reporting the news. And I was so mad about the border. 12,000 every hour. 200,000 a month. And there's nothing the American people could do. Our hands were tied. And I just find that scary.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with COVID, And now they're talking about Trump being king.
Yeah.
These people are out of their minds. They're out of their minds.
Well, Democrats believe that democracy has failed if they're not in power. Because wouldn't everybody, if democracy is there, wouldn't everybody just vote for them and their weirdness? I mean, that's how they've always felt this way. It's so stupid. So stupid.
I heard that a Republican bought the Dominion voting machine, so I'm waiting to hear about that.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, it happened like 2 weeks ago. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I mean, I like the guy, but he's just throwing out random things over the years. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, hey, Brian. It's unimaginable to me that this guy is even being considered for the mayoral position in New York.
Crazy.
You would think with all these so-called sophisticated voters, this would never happen. Can you imagine what our 9/11 anniversaries are going to be when if this guy becomes mayor and he's presiding over this remembrance every year that we have?
Yeah.
I mean, it's beyond belief. It's beyond belief.
It is.
Like I said in the prior call, New York is going to go down so fast. This guy, he has no good policies, none.
Well, listen, hold on for a second. We're getting ready to end the radio show, but I'm going to continue with the post. I hit the mic with my hand. I'm sorry, guys, if I blew out your ears. Okay. I'm going to continue with the post show for a few minutes. So hang in there. All right, you're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And I know Steve hasn't been here for a few days. Steve's been under the weather, and he has some his sister's staying with him and visiting from California. They haven't seen each other for a while. So they're kind of like on California time over at Steve's house right now. But I'm hoping he'll be back with us tomorrow. All right, take care. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. God bless, Donald Trump. All right, we're clear. So, that call from Renee from Harlem, I think that's your average brain-dead Democrat voter in New York. I really do. What do you think?
Well, you would think that in a city like New York, even the Democrats would have a little tiny bit of sophistication about him and realize this guy will be a disaster for their city.
They don't care.
This is literally total brainwashing on this part.
They don't care.
They don't care.
This is... Renee, I don't think is all that unusual. It's what all this critical race theory is about. They hate whitey. So they view this as white people losing power. That's all they care about. They don't care about his policies, what he represents. Whatever it does, it's worth it to get even with whitey.
It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, these people, when they have to live under this new administration and the things, there is nothing redeeming about this guy's political platform.
No.
There's nothing.
No, there's nothing.
I mean, no. It's a sad day. This will be probably the saddest day in the history of New York, I would think.
Well, a lot of people, compare it to, like Mayor Dinkins in the 90s. But the population, they were liberal idiots, but they were still New Yorkers, Americans. These people don't consider themselves New Yorkers or Americans.
No.
They're visitors from another land, and they don't care about that. So it's not going to be, after Dinkins, there was a reset to Giuliani. I don't see that happening in New York.
No. I just see a real mega downtrend with this,
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, is he getting ready for look at a higher position after that? Yeah.
He's going to, and he could be the one who ends up being the senator, not AOC. I'm serious. Think I'm kidding?
Yeah. No, he's good on TV for the most part in general, and he's connecting with these brain dead people. I mean, he's got a base. Who could imagine this guy would be, the people that lived through 9/11, how could they imagine that we would have a person running for mayor of New York with this political platform?
Hanging out with the 93 unindicted this thing with the 93 unindicted co-conspirator. That's the thing. It's October, right? That's the kind of thing that used to be the October surprise, and then they lose. Mamdani put that up on his X and was bragging about it. Okay?
Yeah.
And it was really sticking the finger up to you. Like, you can't stop me. I'm here with the unindicted co-conspirator from 93. That guy's a terrorist. He was part of the bomb.
This is so amazing that they can do that at late in an election, and they have no problem doing it.
It's almost like if Obama were running today, he wouldn't hide that he was friends with Bill Ayers. He'd brag about it.
No. Yeah.
That's how far the Democrats have gone. That's how low they've gone.
Well, they're starting to zero out, but I hate to see this guy get in as mayor because he will destroy one of our greatest cities. And he'll do it in no time flat.
Yep.
No time flat.
All right,
He's
take
gonna
care.
bring everything right
It's good to hear from you.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, take care. Well, listen, everyone, thanks for joining. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And don't forget, Mike Lindell is supporting and sponsoring the expansion of the program. that extra pre-show that I do. So make sure that you go to mypillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout. This is the second month, and next week's the end of the month. So they're gonna let me know either Friday next week or the Monday after if they're gonna continue that. So go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and if you could like the video, that'd be great. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.